Good evening and a warm welcome to you all for one more session of G20 International One Planet Cabinet. So every week we have been talking about SDGs and also COP20 parameters, whereas we know that SDGs are the collection of ambitious and interrelated targets that aim to tackle some of the world's most pressing challenges, including poverty, inequality, climate change, and environmental degradation. They are designed to be universal, meaning that they apply to all countries and all people, regardless of the level of development. That is, to create a planet, we need to collaborate with people, contribute with partnership, catalyzing for a change to the communities and the pathways ahead. On this note, the G20 International One Planet Cabinet has come up with this program, this initiative, with the mission of the 5 Ps as the vision, that is, for people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnerships, with the mission of the 17 SDGs. So we have been talking about different programs on different topics every Sunday, as you know, that we meet. And on that note, we owe a very sincere thank you to our community partners. So we extend a warm welcome to all our community partners, starting from GSFN, Global Sustainable Futures, IIU International Internship University, IGEN, the Institution of Green Engineers, and Research and Development University, Good Vision Seva Trust, IGEN Engineers, Amity University Dubai, Sairam Group, Sairam Institution, Group of Sairam Institutions, Dr. MGR Education and Research Institute, Srividhya College of Engineering, SRM Engineering College Tiruchirappalli, St. Xavier's College of Engineering, Easwari Engineering College, and JNN Institute of Engineering, GRACIAS Legacy Foundation, Global United Sustainable Futures, and Global Foundation for Peace, Universal Human Values Foundation, and Green Brigade. So, and also along with them, we would like to extend a warm welcome to all our speakers for today. Dr. Lakshmi, who is representing IGEN, Mrs. Lyall Dagada, who is representing Lyall Global Innovative Learning Hub. Warm welcome, ma'am. Mr. Mohammed Zubair, who is representing Higher Education Department. Ms. Mona Sawan, who is representing IIU University. Dr. A. Sandhya, who is representing MGR University. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Vishnupada Bose, who is representing Global GSFN, Global Sustainable Futures. Adavan Karthik, who is representing Indus International School, the youngest speaker for today. Professor Adil Ahmed, who is representing Amity University, Dubai. Roshni Mohan, who is again representing IGEN. Dr. Parul Shraddha, who is representing Medicaps University, Indore. Dr. Shruti Kulkarni, who is representing IIU, Dr. Prem Nath, who is representing Chiltern TMC, and Dr. Jose Lewis, who is representing PUC and PR Exponentials of Changemaker Society. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the speakers who have joined us today. And on that note, we extend a warm welcome to our special guest for today, Sri P. Manoj Tangaraj sir. Welcome, sir. It's always the greatest pleasure of having you in our programs. And you have been very, very supportive. And to have a very small introduction about Sir. Sir is a former Minister of Ministry and Dairy Development. And he is an Indian politician from Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. Since 2019, he has been representing Padmanabhapuram constituency in the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks for giving your time and with all your big support. With all your blessings, we would like to start today's program. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
And good evening to one and all who are present here. I'm again thankful to Dr. Srividhya for organizing such a wonderful discussion on net zero. And I'm very happy because we are also working on the same lines. And as she rightly told, I was the founder of a Good Vision Seva Trust that is working since 2000. And one of our core areas is environment, climate change kind of things. So it gives me immense pleasure to say a few words with regard to net zero and how India is going to handle it, or what is the target become this kind of thing. I'll finish within try to finish by 5 minutes. So net zero carbon emissions refer to achieving a balance between the amount of green gases, particularly carbon dioxide, emitted into the atmosphere and the amount removed or offset. The goal is to limit global warming, and we all know the challenges that we are facing out of it. Ideally to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels as outlined in the Paris Agreement. And when we look at the breakdown, we can see emissions from the human activities, example, energy, transportation, and industries, should be reduced as much possible, and any remaining emissions are counteracted through natural solutions like reforestation or technologies that is taking up in a large way. And this has to be done in a more, what I said, with the people's participation. That's what I feel. And it's critical to combat climate change, reduce extreme weather events, and protect the ecosystems and economies. It's a very big thing before us, and we all know how the climate change crisis is happening, and we are seeing cyclones, floods, and many kind of things like that. And transitioning to renewable energy, improving energy efficiency, electrifying transport, adopting sustainable practices in agriculture and manufacturing. Many countries and companies aim for a net zero by 2050. Though some sectors may take longer due to the technological or economic challenges. And we all know that India, the world's third largest carbon emitter, has pledged to reach net zero carbon by 2070. It was a target fixed by the Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Prime Minister of India in the COP26 in 2021. This is distinct from the goal set by many developed countries, reflecting the status of developing economy with rising energy demands, because we have a very huge population and our industry is also coming up like anything. So we have huge energy demand also. The country currently emits about 2.9 gigatons of CO2, equivalent to annually per capita emissions. When we calculate, it's 1.9 tons. But it may be far below the per capita when we compare it to the developed countries. But when we take it as a country as a whole, our population is very, very huge. So we cannot say that the international average is this, per capita average is this, and we are far behind it, we cannot say. That's what I feel so. And some key points I can say about the context in India, because here coal dominates the powering sector. Nearly 70% of India's electricity is taken from thermal plants. And the non-fossil fuel sources like solar, wind, hydro make up nearly 46% of installed capacity. That's a good thing we can see. And India targets 50% of energy requirements from renewable energies by 2030. This we will be able to easily achieve because we have not so far tapped the potentials of offshore wind energy kind of things, and a lot of discussions are going at the central level and as also the state level also. 2030, when we look at the 2030 targets, alongside the renewable push, India aims to reduce total projected carbon emissions by 1 billion tons and cut its economic carbon intensity by 45% by 2030. So this is how the government is planning. And when we look at the challenges, there is heavy resilience on coal, rapid industrialization is happening, and urbanization, you all know that is going on in a very hasty way, and it is posing a lot of hurdles. Now we have the transition for energy intensive sectors like steel, cement, and transport is really critical and really it is challenging. And we all know that it accounts for nearly 70% of emissions that is happening. So we have a lot of opportunities on one side for solar and wind kind of things. But at the same time, we have a lot of challenges too. And India's solar capacity, we are fifth globally because we have huge potentials, as I told you. And when we take off wind, we are fourth globally. So we can move ahead of it. And the green hydrogen and carbon capture technologies and emerging priorities backed by initiatives like 2021 National Green Hydrogen Mission, aiming at cut to 50 million tons of CO2 annually by 2030. So these are all achievable goals, but the government has to put some concrete steps towards achieving it. When we look at the economic angle, achieving net zero could boost GDP by up to 4.7. It is predicted. By 2036, we can achieve a GDP boost by 4.7% and create 15 million jobs by 2047. It's a big thing. And it's a, what I say, it's a very good, very green area we can think about. And we can bring a lot of investments also in the clean tech field. So there are possibilities like that. And India, we have to make some specific strategies. Say, for example, scaling renewable energy more and more, and incentivizing electric vehicles and enhancing carbon sinks via afforestation. Through afforestation also we can contribute much because we have huge potential for afforestation also. And we have a lot of scope for collaborating with international fintech organizations, as well as we can go with collaborating with countries for technologies in this sector also. So these are the areas I want to suggest. And when we speak, net zero is not only an environmental target, but it also covers economic opportunities and bringing in a lot of investments and technology innovations to our country also. So let us all join together and focus on this particular field that will give more importance to our country as a whole in the international global level. Thank you, Nata. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And it is always a greatest pleasure and honor to have you amidst us for this kind of a session. And really, you've been very kind and with all your blessings. And I think this session will definitely come out well. And for being so very supportive for all these initiatives that you have taken. Thank you, sir. Your presence is only a greatest blessing for us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your valuable time. And thanks for joining us. Thank you. So moving ahead, as sir was mentioning, some of the, let me introduce today's topic, that net zero refers to the achieving a balance between the amount of greenhouse gas emissions produced and the amount of removed or the offset. So some of the concepts that we would like to discuss today is the renewable energy. As you know, transition to 100% renewable energy sources like solar, wind and hydro and geothermal. And when we talk about carbon capture, implementing carbon capture and storage technologies to reduce emissions from industrial sources. And moving ahead, like the following which will be energy efficiency, to improve energy efficiency in buildings, transportation, industry through smart grids, insulation and efficient appliances. And also process of electrification to promote electrification of transportation, heating and cooling to reduce dependence on fossil fuels. So last but not the least, it's sustainable land use to implement sustainable agricultural practices, reforestation and conservation efforts to sequester carbon dioxide. So what are the strategies we can take it up? Like as I was mentioning, carbon pricing could be one, green infrastructure could be another, circular economy could be the third one, and climate resilient infrastructure could be another one, following which it could be international cooperation where we all can work together to advance the nuclear power, carbon mineralization, direct air capture and smart grids, and also sustainable aviation fuels, etc., etc. So when we talk about all these things, these are the different strategies that we are going to discuss. What is the key thing to move forward is a policy and the governance. That's the national, subnational policies should be revamped and international agreements should be established, which will lead to the climatic governance, climatic education and awareness, and also inclusive and equitable transition that we can talk about. So on that note, today we are here, gathered here discuss on various parameters of road to net zero, which is a silk route for livable climate and landscape impact with a strong action plan. So on that note, we are going to discuss on resilience to disruption caused by climatic change, standards for net zero emission pledges, nationally determined contribution, that is NDC, it's a climatic action plan, right decarbonization targets, investment in carbon markets, greenwashing to net zero, and a global effort to reach net zero. So, though we are not going to go in order, on that note, please allow me to present before you Professor Adil Ahmed, who is the keynote speaker for today. Welcome, Professor. It's always a pleasure having you. Please allow Tanuja ma'am to welcome you, and then we can carry on with the session. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very good
Thank
evening.
you.
Very good evening. Very good evening all. I welcome, it's my privilege and gratitude to welcome our today's speaker, Professor Adil Ahmed from Amity University, UAE, and who is a very distinguished academic and industry expert with over 30 years of experience in higher education institutions across UK and the Middle East, and is committed to bridging academia and industry. Professor Adil's work continues to empower the next generation of business leaders with knowledge and skills. Now I invite our Professor Adil Ahmed to talk about address on the pointer number 5, investment in carbon markets. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you very much for everyone contribute for the net zero target, which it is not a solo and individual effort. It is a collaborations effort between the industry, between the government. As already today, we have the Ministry of the Milk and Dairy Development is a representative of the government. Therefore, we need to make sure the net zero we cannot achieve unless we all working together. And in order to achieve the net zero, you need to have the money, you need to have the investment. And today I will talk about the market. Therefore, I'm going actually to share first my slide. I hope it's allow me to share. I'd like to make sure, have you already?
Yeah, we have given the permission to everybody.
Yes, therefore you're so okay now. You can see the slides.
It's loading.
Loading, yes.
Yes, we are able to see your slides. Yes, Professor.
Brilliant. Okay, therefore today I'm talking about investing in the carbon market. Therefore, first, when we talk about the market, it means buy and sell. Therefore, what we going to buy and sell? We go to buy the carbon, the emission we produced, how we can sell the allowance, which we can use it. And you can use the sustainable finance approach in order to achieve the climate action. And it is very important, this action is coming from academia, coming from industry, coming from the ministries, coming from the government, for the NGO, all of the non-governmental organization as well. They have to provide this. Therefore, I would like to thank the G20 International One Plan Cabinet for inviting me for that. And as well, I would like to thank all the contributors today for the road to net zero. I would like to thank everyone from the speaker today and all the presenter today and all the people who already organized this event. I will talk today, I know the time it is very limited, but I just gave you an overall, what I always call it a helicopter view. I will talk about the definition and the purpose of the carbon market and how it works, and how the sustainable finance will help and support to the mechanism, a financial mechanism, in order to achieve the net zero carbon, and why we need to invest in the carbon market, and what is the type of the carbon market, and what is the pricing mechanism and the liquidity challenge. And I'm going to provide as well a global case study quickly as a helicopter view, and as well from the global south, from the MENA region. Therefore, we have the global south and the global north example today as well. And after that, I finish with the action plan. As the moderator has mentioned, she already mentioned, Dr. Srividhya, she mentioned about the action plan. And the action plan here for the investors and for the policy maker as well. And in the end, we'll have any question or answer for that. And everyone aware about the 17 goals, but we talk today about goal number 13, which it is the climate action and how we can do that. But I'm going to mention, when you're tackling the climate action, you tackle as well the no poverty and no hunger, because when we have a deforestations, if we will have the biodiversity, all of this will have an impact on the food security as well. Therefore, we need to make sure as well, we have to think a holistic approach. If we don't have a quality education to give awareness for the people, for the institutional, for the individual about the climate actions, we are not going to succeed for the climate action number 13. If we cannot work together as number 17, as a partnership, we cannot achieve as well numbers. Therefore, it is all interconnected. Therefore, as we're already aware, we're talking about climate change. But as I said before, we talk about climate emergency now. And the climate change has emerged. It's a most pressing global challenge. A necessity for innovative financial mechanism. Therefore, we need to find out how the finance tools can help and to drive the development effort for the carbon market as well. Integration of sustainable finance principle to enable the investor to achieve financial return, which you always call is the triple bottom line. We need to find the way we can all succeed. We all win-win situation. The investor will win, the environment will win, and the people will win, and everyone will win in the global, which it is a financial return, while as well achieving the climate action goal. Today we'll talk about evaluating the global and the MENA region as well as the global south and the global north. The urgency to address the climate change, it is a pivotal tool for sustainable finance. As a nation committed to achieving net zero emission, carbon market an effective mechanism for the price carbon and the drive emissions. And we need to find out what's the challenge and opportunities, which I go to provide the SWOT analysis. What's the challenge? What's the opportunities? I not call it weakness, but it is opportunities. And the other aspect of the carbon market landscape. First, for the people who are not aware about what is a carbon market, the carbon market is a financial mechanism that allow the companies, the entities, the industrials to buy and sell, the trade. So for when you say trading means buying and selling. And this is not a new. It has been started in the Kyoto Protocol, 1997. And they already started. But the problem is the Kyoto Protocol has only identified 37 industrial developed countries. They are not including the global south. And this has been replaced. The Kyoto Protocol has been replaced by the Paris Agreement, which include 193 countries in order to make sure we can make a net zero emission. Therefore, the financial mechanism has been implemented before as a Kyoto Protocol, but it has been failed because it's only working on the developing country, 37 countries only using that. And they're using what's called the 1 metric ton of CO2 equivalent, reduced or removed from the atmosphere. The purpose of the carbon market as an investment tool to reduce the global carbon emission by putting the price on the pollution. When you produce any emission, you pay the price. And you will have a limit to produce. If you need more, you need to buy. And when you buy, you got, in order to reduce the emissions without buying more trading, you have to use the technology. You have to cut the emission in a cost-effective way. Supporting the climate change mitigation as well as a net zero emission and the Paris Agreement, as I mentioned, promote sustainable finance and the green investment, which I always talk about the green economy, a green investment, green finance, directing the capital, the money, toward renewable energy, carbon capture, and the nature-based solution as well. And this is part of the International Environment Agency. We need to encourage the innovation. Yes, we are not here to just only supporting the trading buy and sell, but as well to encourage the innovation in the low carbon technology as the companies seek to reduce the cost, because in the end, they would like to make a profit. To reduce the cost and reduce the emissions through the cleaner alternative. By pricing the carbon, this is a very important in order to create a financial incentives for the industries to reduce the emission and invest in the decarbonization strategy. Sustainable finance, it is just only the tool refer to integration the environment and social and the governance, which is all about environment, the climate, and the people, the social and the government, the role of the government, the regulators, which provides financial decision making and the investment strategy. Sustainable finance encompasses a wide range of the financial activity, particularly in the context of the investing in the carbon market. Sustainable finance is guided by principle, environmental sustainability, social sustainability, and as well governance and the transparency. It is very important. The type of the sustainable finance which help the trade market and the carbon market, it's a green finance. We can finance through sustainable bond and loans. We will have an impact investing and the climate risk insurance as well. And we have a blended in. To understand more about the carbon market function as a financial platform, I said market like a stock market. There is buying and selling. Therefore, we can trade this carbon as a commodities. Therefore, the people will buy and the people will going to sell this one. And this is very important to include financial return with a climate impact. We need the regularity, compliance, and the corporate ESG strategy as well. The market growth and innovations. The carbon market expanding rapidly. Voluntary market, as we go to talk about two types of market. Compliance market and the voluntary market. The voluntary market, it is passing now 2 billion by the 2023 as the last statistical from the ecosystem marketplace. And we need to make sure as well the blockchain-based carbon credit to record all the transactions, to make sure there is a transparency as well, including in this trading. Supporting the renewable energy and the nature-based solutions. It is very important to make sure we have a reforestation, renewable energy, and the methane capture and the carbon removal as well technology. We need to make sure as well we have the direct air capture, the DEC technology, in order to measure exactly the CO2 in the environment. We need to find out the high value in the carbon credit. The carbon pricing mechanism, it is very important, which I'm talking later on now about that. But the other thing you need to make sure everyone understands the carbon market, broadly classified to two major categories. Compliance carbon market, which it is a regulated carbon market by the government, and we have a voluntary carbon market. The compliance carbon market, it is a government regulated market where the companies legally by law required to have a limit emissions under the capping and the trade or a carbon tax system. How it works? The government set up the carbon cap on a total emission, and the company receive a carbon allowance or permit, or buy them through auctions. If the company exceeds their limit, they must buy allowance. But the company, if you buy allowance, they reduce the profit. In this way, they have to find out a way, technological innovation way, in order to reduce the emissions, instead of buying. Or you go to pay penalties. And when you pay penalties, will affect as well the bottom line as a profit. If this limit less than the allowance, they can sell it or trade it. And this is where we can have here a win-win situation of that. Example of that, we have a three important example in the global, which it is a European Union emissions trade system, which it is the largest world carbon market, covering 40% of the EU emissions, European Commission, Another example, it is a China national carbon market as well, which it is by the government. And we have a very popular, it's called the California Cap and Trade Program, which is a key system for the North America. What is the key benefit of the compliance carbon market? Create a strong incentives. Yes, financial incentives, environment incentives, and the social incentives as well. For who? For the industries to cut the emissions. Establish a critical carbon price for the investors. Therefore, we can predict what is the price. And this is one of the challenges I go to talk later on. Drive decarbonization in high emitting sectors like energy sectors, manufacturing sector, and everyone aware about the aviation sector as well. The challenge here is a market price volatility, as I go to tell you, because there's a change in the regularity. The tons on the European Union, different than the tons of the emission of CO2 in the California tap, as I go to tell you, carbon leak risk as well. The another type of the carbon market is a voluntaries. It is not a regularity by the government. It is a voluntary carbon market, allow companies and organization, individual, for purchase carbon credit voluntary to offset their emission. Unlike the compliance market, it is no legal requirement, but it is an individual requirement. How it works? The company buy carbon credit from the verified emissions reduction projects. Therefore, if you have a project has been verified as an emission reduced, we have a different authority to verify this project, and each credit offset 1 ton of the CO2 equivalents. Common projects include like reforestation, as I mentioned, renewable energy, methane capture, and the carbon sequestration as well. The third-party certificate bodies like Vera, like a verified, and the gold standard and the climate action reserve ensure the credit validity as well. Example of that, we have a Vera, as I mentioned, like a verified carbon standard. It is one of the largest voluntary carbon registry globally. And we have a gold standard focus on a project with a co-benefit for sustainable development. And the last one, it is a climate action reserve. It's a North America voluntary market as well for that. What is the key benefit? Support to the corporate net zero strategy. Therefore, they have a mechanism to achieve the net zero as a corporate. Not as a government, as a compliance, but it is a corporate as a voluntary based. Found nature-based solution as well. What's the challenge? Yes, we have a greenwashing risk, which is somebody will go to talk about, some of the keynote speakers as well, about the greenwashing risk as well of that. What is the comparison? Just quickly, the feature of that, the compliance carbon market, it's illegally mandated by the government. But the voluntary carbon, it is options. The market participant here, it's a high emission industries. But here it is a normal corporate, normal industry, NGOs, and the individual. Carbon credit purpose in meeting legally binding emission. It is by law. But in the voluntary carbon market, it's offsetting emission for a corporate sustainability. The credit verification for the compliance carbon market, which is by the government, it is already by the government agency to verify the credit. But for the voluntary, we have a third party, as I already mentioned about the Vera and the gold standard. The market size in the large and well established, like European, China, but here it's only for the corporate EG. Example of that, like California cap and the trade, China carbon market, and the Vera as well. I'm just going quickly for how the carbon credit pricing complexity. The complexity coming for there is no universal price for the mechanism for the tons of the CO2. For example, for the European compliance market, the tons it is $100 per ton. California, it is 32 per ton. For the voluntary market, between 5 to 50, depend on the project and the time you already use. One of the very important liquidity challenge in the emerging market, compliance market, high liquidity, because talking about the government, but the voluntary, they have a liquidity issue because market credit pricing less the protected. In the MENA region, as UAE and Saudi, required as well a strong investor participation in order to improve a market depth. Solution is scaling the voluntary market as well. I just go quick with a case study quickly. One of the case study about the global case study, European Union, which is you have already this one 40% of the EU greenhouse gas emissions. The investors, as I mentioned, is 100 per ton. And the market success. Yes. The case study about China as well and about California tap. For the MENA region as well, we have a UE carbon credit market. It's linked with the Dubai financial market, EFM as well. And this is investor as well through the master and the ADNOC. As already ADNOC, it is one of the biggest fossil fuel, but now ADNOC now try to reach the net zero mission and try to use the renewable energy as well. And the market for the UE captured by 25% by 2030, this one here. And Saudi Arabia as well, they have already Saudi Arabia initiative. What is the challenge here? As I mentioned before,
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Can you restrict time another 2 minutes?
Yes, I'm going to as the action plan. The action plan, as this is one of the very important for the investors and the financial institutions. We have to invest in high integrity carbon credit verified by Vera. We need to avoid credit associated with a low additional project. We need to engage the carbon pricing and the policy as well. This is for the investors and financial, but for the policymaker, and this is very important for the government, we need to harmonization the global carbon credit standards. We need to implement unified verification framework, as already strengthened in the Article 6 of Paris Agreement as well. We need to provide the tax incentives. We need to establish a public-private partnership to scale the credit as well, and as well to make sure we expand it in the MENA region. The takeaway from today, carbon market is a critical mechanism for the global climate action and sustainable finance. We need to have investment success depend on the carbon credit quality. So for not here about the quantity, but the quality of the carbon credit. The projects they produce, reduce the emission. MENA growing carbon as well and cooperation. And in the end, we have to conclude investing in a carbon market represent a sustainable finance approach as well. What is very important as well, we need as a final thought, the future of the carbon market lies ensuring investment credibility, regularity, clarity, and technological advancement as well. A climate action accelerate and the carbon trading will play an important role for a corporate ESG strategy as well. By adopting a sustainable finance approach, investors can contribute to global decarbonization effort while unlocking a long-term market as well. However, ongoing research and the policy evolution and the market innovation will be critically to shaping and the robust resilience of the carbon credit. And this is the reference, I use it here, and this is my WhatsApp number and my LinkedIn if you'd like to get contact with me later on, anyone, if you have any questions. But I would like as well to give opportunity if somebody have any reflections or you would like to give us some feedback on the session today. And if you don't have a time, just you can share your thought, your reflection on the chat, and will be good for everyone to share this as a part of all of us working together. I would like to thank all of you for this opportunity, and I would like to leave now the platform for the other speakers and for the other people if you have any questions about the carbon market and how we can achieve the net zero emission. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. First of all, our sincere thanks for joining us during Ramadan time. I know it's iftar time, very close. And thank you so much. Well, I think the session is already over. We have covered almost all the parameters, all the 7 points together, and definitely leaving no leaf unturned for talking when we talk about the net zero. As you rightly mentioned, the investment in the carbon markets will add value to support the transition of the low carbon economy, potentially generating returns. So we need to work on carbon market mechanism like carbon credit, carbon offset projects, and cap and trade systems that you really mentioned, and the carbon taxes, which we are highlighting
Yes.
on, with the investment vehicles of carbon funds, green bonds, carbon ETFs, and impactful investing, engaging in impactful investing as such going through, and leaving not to miss in the mention the carbon market opportunities when it comes to the voluntary carbon market and the compliance carbon markets with the carbon pricing mechanisms which are involved in the process, and with the low carbon technologies being there, with considering the risks and the considerations with the market volatility, with the regulatory risks which are involved, taking into 2 case studies of China and other country, talking about the project risks, with all that leading on a very pathway forward towards the governance. Thank you so much, sir. It was quite comprehensive and insightful deliverance. Thank you so much. And may I request Mr. Balaji Krishnan to share his inputs on the first speaker. Thank you so much.
Evening. Dr. Ahmed, as you said, Srividhya madam, he's left nothing undone. All honors relating to the market-related information was covered. And maybe we should highlight that in the coming session, greenwashing that he said is the biggest challenge. You have to really make it sustainable in-house rather than buy from someone and then compensate. That can only be a short-term solution. It cannot be long-term. It will not help the world per se. Suppose I am overweight and doctor is very fit. I pay for his 15 kgs of fitness, but then over a period of time, my health suffers. And because I am a big nation, big corporate which is producing a lot of negative carbon emission, unless I in-house make the correction, it will become very difficult. So that part is very wonderfully taken, Dr. Professor, I'm sorry. It was a beautiful session, and we look forward to other participants to step in and then fill the void, if any, is left in today's scintillating session. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Seva.
I got to stop actually now sharing, because I would like to make sure I am still sharing or not.
No, it is not. You have shared a lot of knowledge that is already continuously in our minds. That cannot be stopped, even if you want. That is the take.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. But I'll try to not sharing this one now.
Over to you, Dr. Srividhya. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I request Tanuja ma'am to welcome the next speaker, please.
Yes, ma'am. So our next speaker, I invite Ms. Mona Swan, IAU. She's a Vice President of AULA, EduTech expert, and she's an international trainer, global speaker, ambassador of IAU. And now I invite her to talk about investment in carbon markets, point number 5. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Mona, and thanks for your patience. And I know you are also very close to the iftar time. Kindly, our sincere apologies. Please go ahead, ma'am. Thank you. Your screen is quite visible now. And then, I think you need to go on to the slideshow mode. The presentation mode, which
it's a Google slide. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Please go ahead. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We are here to talk about net zero, the goal of balancing the greenhouse gases we emit with those who we remove from the atmosphere. But net zero isn't just about cutting emissions, it's also about building climate resilience to adapt to the change we can't avoid. Today, I will show how mitigation and adaptation work together to create a sustainable and resilient future. We will look at real-world examples and also discuss challenges, trade-offs, and opportunities we face on the path to net zero. By the end, I hope you will see how we can turn this vision into reality through innovation, collaboration, and action. So resilience is the ability of a system, whether social, ecological, or socio-ecological, to anticipate potential hazards, adapt to changing conditions, accommodate disruptions, and recover efficiently from impacts. Think of it like a mattress. It can absorb pressure and bounce back after the pressure is removed. This cycle of resilience is crucial for managing climate risks. I will share with you a case study. The Netherlands is a global leader in climate resilient pathways. They have combined mitigation by reducing emissions through wind energy with adaptations, building flood-resistant infrastructure like dikes and the storm surge barriers. This integrated approach has made the Netherlands one of the most climate resilient countries in the world. A climate resilient pathway refers to development strategies that combine adaptation and mitigation to achieve sustainable development. It's an iterative process that evolves over time, aiming to produce disruptions and enhance opportunities in the face of climate change. The key question we need to ask is how can we manage change in complex systems to build resilience. We will explore this further in the upcoming slides. For example, it's a case study in Costa Rica. The government has successfully transitioned to renewable energy with over 98% of its electricity coming from renewable sources like hydropower, wind, and solar. At the same time, they have implemented adaptation measures like reforestation to protect against landslides and improve water retention. This dual approach has made Costa Rica a global model for sustainable development. So mitigation reduces the severity of climate threats by lowering greenhouse gas emissions, while adaptation enhances the ability of systems to cope with unavoidable impacts. Together, they moderate the negative effects on sustainable development and create opportunities for growth and innovation. Both strategies are essential for building resilience. Climate change is a threat multiplier. It can derail sustainable development progress and require new approaches to develop that account for complex climate social ecological interactions. However, there is hope. Well-planned mitigation and adaptation can foster sustainable development and help us navigate these challenges. In Rwanda, the government integrated the climate change into their national development plan through the green growth and the climate resilience strategy. This has helped them achieve sustainable development while addressing climate risks such as improving agriculture productivity and reducing deforestation. Here are the key takeaways. Climate change intensifies stresses on already vulnerable systems. Ambitious mitigations targets are essential for high climate resilience. Transformational adaptation is needed for serve climate impacts. Trade-offs and co-benefits must be carefully managed. These points will guide our discussion on how to pursue climate resilient pathway. There are trade-offs and co-benefits to consider. For example, adaptation measures like fossil fuel-based air conditioning may increase emissions, while mitigation efforts could hinder adaptation if they reduce energy access. On the other hand, initiatives like RED, which is reducing emissions from deforestation and degradation, offer co-benefits by reducing emissions and improving livelihoods in forested areas. Integrated strategies can promote social equity and economic growth. In India, the solar pump initiatives is a great example of co-benefits. Farmers use solar-powered pumps for irrigation, reducing emissions, while improving agricultural productivity. However, a trade-off is the initial cost of installation, which can be a barrier of small-scale farmers. So to pursue a climate-resilient pathway, we need to identify vulnerabilities to climate impacts, assess opportunities for risk reduction, take action aligned with sustainable development goals. Actions can range from incremental changes like improving water efficiency to transformative responses such as rethinking water rights. Both are necessary for building resilience. In South Africa, the city of Cape Town faced a severe water crisis in 2018. They responded by identifying vulnerabilities, drought-prone areas, and taking action, implementing water restrictions, investing in desalinations plants, and promoting water conservation. These measures helped the city avoid day zero when taps would have run dry. The elements of a climate resilience pathway include resources, access to scientific expertise, financing and climate information, practices, risk management and contingency planning, awareness and capacity, social awareness of climate risk, leadership for sustainability, and development. These elements are foundational for effective climate resilience strategies. Innovation is key to addressing surprises and needs in climate resilience. For example, in water scarce regions, changes in water rights and improved groundwater management can make a significant difference. In coastal areas, affordable desalination technologies can help address water scarcity. Innovation drives resilience by creating adaptive solutions tailored to local challenges. There are significant challenges to pursuing climate resilient pathways. Unsustainable development path remains the norms. Ineffective governance hinders policy implementation. Rapid population growth and unabated emissions increase risk. Without action, losses could be so widespread that no development pathway would be resilient. This underscores the urgency of addressing these challenges. When pursuing CRP, we must consider institutional context, innovations and technology, window of opportunity. Now is the time to act to improve resilience and livelihoods. These factors will determine the success of our resilience building efforts. The way forward involves iterative processes of monitoring, evaluation, and learning. Adaptive management reduces disaster risk and promotes resilience. Leadership and collective action are needed to navigate the complex challenges posed by climate change. We must work together to create a sustainable and resilient future. To reiterate, the way forward requires iterative process of monitoring, evaluation and learning, adaptive management to reduce disaster risks and promote resilience, leadership and collective action to navigate the complex challenges. These steps are critical for achieving climate resilience. Now, thank you for your attention. I hope this presentation has provided valuable insights into the importance of climate resilience and how we can work towards it. For more information, please visit www.unesco.org. Okay, thank you. And here are the references. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mona. That was a wonderful presentation where you had taken examples and instances from different parts of the globe. As such, that was really commendable. And as you rightly mentioned in your presentation, the resilience to the disruption caused by the climatic change is crucial for businesses, for the communities, and also for the individuals. That's what the whole topic is about. The planet, people, prosperity that we're talking about. So we are taking into account your climatic resilience strategies that you have mentioned about the climatic risk assessment. That's the key first primitive point that we need to look into. And when we take into the risk assessment, the diversification and the adaptation process that has to be in vogue as such, not leaving with only producing reports, as such go on to the restoration process, definitely. So when we do that, we need to work on the infrastructure resilience, supply chain resilience, and also employee, the community resilience also to be taken into account. As you know, that early warning systems have to be taken into consideration with climatic resilient materials that are to be coordinated with the renewable energy prospects and the strategies to be implemented with smart grids and the data analysis processes which are involved in it. So brilliant presentation. Thank you so much, Dr. Mona. In spite of your iftar time, you are still here with us, having away 5 minutes away from your iftar time. Thank you so much. That was really a brilliant presentation. And it's always a pleasure working with you. You were commendable indeed. Indeed. Thank you. Thank you so much. Over to Mr. Balaji.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have the pleasure of again briefing on the wonderful presentation done by last week as well, and this week it was even one step better. And especially the fact that it causes disruption in the drinking water, as the example that you have given for Cape Town, that really makes every one of us sit up and take note that a lot of things that we do impact our environment, and in fact, we must either pay for it or we should ensure that we don't cause the damage. We have a great example from the state of Kerala where one big multinational giant had to stop their operation. This is one of the biggest, I don't want to name it, one of the biggest giant in the soft drinks industry. They had to stop because they were very severely damaging the water table in the area. So your example is very relevant. In fact, we have seen in our part of the world that there have been initiatives taken by the local authorities to stop the damage to the environment beyond the point. So as you said, it's all in-house. We have to think inward to create a sustainable world where the world has given so much to us. There is a limit to which we can take it away from the world. If you take more, please give it back to the world where we live. Thank you very much for the beautiful presentation. Over to you. Over to you both.
May we request Tanuja ma'am to welcome the next speaker, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes. So now our next speaker, Dr. Vishnu Padapose from representing GSFN. Now I invite to share his expertise on right decarbonization target, pointer number 6. So, Dr. Vishnu, sir.
Yes, I am here. So shall I share my slide?
Please start sharing, sir. You can actually.
Yes. Is it visible?
It's loading. It's not even loading. Maybe you need to share it again. Yes, doctor. If there is any problem, so we'll go on to the next speaker and we'll come back to you, definitely.
Yes, you call the next speaker.
Next speaker. Thank you so much.
Yes,
So, yes, we would like to invite. Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Yeah. Miss Dr. Vishnu, your screen is loaded now. Dr. Vishnu Padapose, your screen is loaded. We could see, right, decarbonization targets. Dr. Vishnu, would you like to continue, please?
Yes.
It has loaded. We are able to see view the screen now. Maybe you will have to go on to the presentation mode. Dr. Vishnu,
Yes.
you need to unmute yourself so you will get.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
It's visible now?
It is quite visible. Please go ahead with your presentation. We are able to see. Right,
Okay.
decarbonization targets, green innovation
Yes.
to convert dangerous waste into construction materials. Please go ahead,
This is
Dr.
actually-
Vishnu. Thank you.
Yes. Very good evening, one and all. Thank you so much for inviting me this platform. This is actually one realistic project we have performed along with my research group in the university, that we have converted mining waste in to produce bricks and concrete. So in general, traditional bricks using fuel for in the clean, but in our process there is no fuel is required. The process we have developed such a way there is no greenhouse gas produced through this process. So that is a part of the net zero goal emissions. So this is my projects. So in traditional clean burnt clay brick in our country release almost 1072 million tons of carbon dioxide emission into the atmosphere. So that is actually covering 2.7% of the total emissions. Globally, brick is burned many tons of coal per year. So it has been found in the research paper that process of burnt clay brick release about 0.41 kg of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere for processing of our bricks. So our process actually eliminating all this process or fueling process. We are using and we are developed a sustainable process to process manufacturing of bricks and concrete. So that is our key object of this project, and it is a realistic project. We have already mobilized this product in the market. We have developed a process technology for manufacturing of brick without burning fossil fuel, and we also developed a concrete from mine waste. The whole process contribute to reaching the goal of net zero. What actually negative things from mine waste? Mine waste actually creating pollutions, occupy land and occupy vast land area and creating pollution in the environment. If we can eliminate, we can use all those mine waste, so we can eliminate all the problems causing the mine waste. So that we have done. So this is the another issue in the country. Natural scarcity of the natural resources. I mean the raw material which are using for production of bricks and concrete, that is actually depleting very fast. So in that places, if we can use the mining waste, we can replenish the depletion of the natural resources. So that is the main objective of our projects. This is the view of the mining waste, how the mining waste is dumped year after year. Actually, it is a 60 years, 50 years dumping year in India mainly. So this is the pollution source of the mining waste: soil pollution, water pollution, air pollution. This is the brief scenario. So this is the brief flowchart of our projects. Problem of the mining waste: increasing scarcity of the construction materials. This is the two problems. So we have developed a process technology to solve all those problems. Mainly, reduction of the waste and release land area, reduction of the dependency of the natural resources for construction materials. So our material mainly brick and concrete, that is purely construction material. Madam, am I audible?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. And so this is also a process of partly circular economy process. We are collecting mining waste, then screening and separation, then produce brick and concrete, then construct the building, then again demolition material, again recycle. So that is the part of the circular economy process. So this material we have extract from the mining waste, which is as like as natural resources, which is using for concrete and bricks. Large stone chips we have extracted from the mining waste, medium stone chips, sand, and some part of the carbonaceous matter into we can use it as energy for energy productions. Methodology, brief methodology over here. We are collect from the mining waste, then was this mining waste, then segregated the two different tools, instrument we have used in the laboratory. Finally, this is our product, concrete and bricks. That I partly discussed earlier, said the problem is this: huge mine waste calls for tremendous environmental degradation, vast land area rendered unfit for vegetation and inhabitation, and depletion of the natural resources. Fertile topsoil we are using for burned clay brick, that is also a very harmful things, and burned clay brick producing 4.5% national greenhouse gases. So we have eliminated all those problems and we have provide the solutions. So what is the solutions? Fine particles from the miners perfectly used for making bricks, replacing fertile topsoil and reduce greenhouse gases, increase efficiency of the agriculture and food scarcity. Chlorine and fine particles from miners perfectly used for making concrete in civil engineering construction and replacing natural construction material. Both mining industry and construction sector sustainable. So this is the very nearest view of this material which is extracted from mining waste. This is again flowchart how we produce the how you develop this process technology. This is the actual sample prepared in the laboratory, and finally it is already commercialized in our area. This is the brief abstract of the costings. So it has been found that that concrete which we have produced, it is 36% less cost from the traditional concrete which is available in the market. And we have survey for the bricks which is available in the present market. So our product actually came 4 rupees per bricks, and these all are existing market bricks which is available, and their production mainly they are using fossil fuel to produce these bricks. This is the brief market study which I have already described. And benefit of the projects: our approach net zero emission goal to the 2050, approach waste to wealth, low carbon footprint, low cost, a high competitive strength which is very relevant for the civil engineering project, scalable business model. These projects we can establish in anywhere in the country or abroad. Buildings constructed using waste material are classified as a green, release vast land area for agriculture and commercial activities, create job opportunity for local displaced peoples, replacing scarce resources for aggregates. And this is also limitation. Manufacturing bricks using mining waste is possible only in the vicinity of the mine area. The whole process contributes to reaching the goal of net zero emissions. It's possible to convert mine waste into construction material without compromising quality and cost. It's sustainable propositions. The technology can help to consume waste and provide an alternative resources for construction sector. The calamities associated with the waste will cease to exist. The technology will ensure food scarcity by replacing traditional clay bricks. The building to be constructed using technology will qualify as to be a green building. The technology provides innovative entrepreneurial opportunities with unique perspectives. Thank you so much. It is a realistic project. We have already performed it in our laboratory. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vishnu, for the post. I like the idea of you taken yourself, your project as an example and explaining here. And what I wanted is that if you can just give your location or your website, you can share in your chat box, anybody who would like to connect with you, they will connect with you on a personal level and they will be able to collaborate and start working together. So that was wonderful. And a quick since the key takeaways from your thing is that flight carbonization targets is crucial for effectively reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating climatic change. So absolutely emission reduction targets should be taken into consideration with the percentage and the amount of it required pertaining to the adaptability of the local community where you are living in. That's what is the key thing that we need to take here. As he was mentioning that they have done it in different places, giving examples. So the intensity of the based targets, that the set targets will reduce the emissions intensity with the amount of emissions per unit production, or which will reflect upon the global GDP as well. So the carbon budget targets. So you set the target to limit the total amount of emission over a certain period of time where monitoring is very much required, that he has mentioned, and which will ensure the carbon budget as a moving pathway ahead. So this monitoring of your carbon emission and allocating the carbon budget for monitoring the overall performance is a key thing that we need to consider. Last but not the least, the net zero targets that he had mentioned to achieve the net zero emissions, where any kind of remaining emission or balance by removal or offsets as a remedial, that we can always work with the target setting frameworks, science-based target initiatives, which we can be taken into consideration, which is otherwise called as SBT. Okay. So, as you know, as we all know, that we know about the Paris Agreement towards a goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade. So we will take into consideration of GHGP, that is Greenhouse Gas Protocol, which is a framework that is involved, and with the Carbon Disclosure Project, that is CDP, which is involved in the framework. As such, going into specific targets such as energy sector, transportation sector, industry sector, agricultural sector, and also the construction sector, which are in that. So what is required is that RPR, that is regular process review, for satisfying the stakeholder engagement and also increasing the incentives or the accountability which is there in the process. Thank you so much, Dr. Vishnupada Bose. Taking you as an example, you have given us a very clear pathway of how to go about it. That's what has been summed up. And over to Mr. Balaji Krishnan, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you very rightly put, Dr. Srividhya, the whole tone was set by Professor Adel, and then Mona put us in the right perspective. Look, he has created the entire thing in the right purpose. We need to have a purpose, and that purpose can be served only if there are proper targets to be achieved. That really shows us that we are aligning our thoughts with the nation, with the globe as a whole, in creating net zero as a purpose of a corporate for the society that we live and also to the entire community that we belong to. So he has very beautifully covered all the points, and then as you have rightly mentioned, mitigation is also one of the aspects that have been very properly captured. So over to the board. Thank you so much. Wonderful work, Dr. Vishnu. I hope to meet you one of these days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Vishnupada Bose. It's always a pleasure working with you, and it's always a pleasure having you in our board. And when you come, we know that it's exactly the statistic and also the metrics, and also the very clearly, you clearly show the pathway to move forward. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Tanuja to welcome Dr. Lakshmi from IGEN. Thank you.
So now our next speaker, Dr. Lakshmi, she is representing IGEN, and she is from Amity University, belongs to the department. She is going to share his insights on pointer number 1, resilience to disruption caused by climate change. Welcome, ma'am. Please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, Dr. Lakshmi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, please start sharing your screen. It's loading. It is loading. We are able to see your screen. It's viewable and you are quite audible. Maybe you need to go to the slideshow mode, the presentation mode. Yes, you can start your presentation now. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving us an opportunity in presenting, being one of the speaker in G20 International One Panel Cabinet. And I thank Ramesh sir for considering us for this G20. I am representing IGEN. I am Dr. D. Lakshmi, professor from AAA department, working in Amity to be University and also acting as a head IGEN in Seva Club. My topic is resilience to disruption caused by climate change. So, first we shall see what is climate change. Climate resilience refers to the ability of the communities, the systems, and the economics to withstand and recover from and adapt to climate-related disruptions. So, what is the importance? Why we are going for climate change adaptation? So, in this situation, it is very, very crucial to undertake this climate change, adapt this climate change is crucial as extreme weather events are more frequently occurring and it is very, very severe. And by this presentation, we will be covering the key aspects of climate resilience, impacts, strategies, and also some of the case studies which are illustrating the effective adaptation. So first we shall see what is climate disruption. So the climate change, it will be leading to rising temperature and extreme weather events, sea level rise and biodiversity losses. So because of that, hurricanes, floods, droughts and wildfires disturb the ecosystem, economies and also the communities. So this disruption threaten for food security, water availability, infrastructure, and making adoption and mitigation crucial for sustainable and resilient future. So because we have to address to this global rising temperature and the weather events like floods and wildfires. So we are frequently hearing this wildfire then and there, and floods and all. Previously it was occurring 10 years once like that, but nowadays in a year we are always getting information in world level. Many of the countries are being affected by floods. So this is frequently happening in many countries. So this has to be addressed, and the sea level is also rising, which is threatening the coastal cities and the small island nations. So the biodiversity is again a threat, impacting the ecosystem, thereby the food security. And the impact of this biodiversity and ecosystem is habitat loss, species extinction, ecosystem imbalance, and food chain disruption. So how this impacts, what are the impacts that are being made in infrastructure and economy is, it is damaging to roads, bridges and power grids. So the infrastructure such as roads, bridges, power grids are highly vulnerable to this climate disruption. As I already told, the flood is every time occurring in a year. We can say at least 2 to 3 flood are occurring in a country. So because of that extreme weather events that causes extreme damage and leading to costly repairs, and especially the agricultural gets affected. Once the agriculture gets affected, the food chain, supply chain also will be affected. Thereby, the products in the produced during by agriculture get raised, and food insecurity happens, and because of that, healthcare system also being affected. And then climate-induced illness, disruption to agriculture and food supply, and then because of all these things, economic losses will occur, and finally health will be affected. So next we shall move on to social and community impact. What are the social and community impacts are? Displacement and climate mitigation, and vulnerability of marginalized communities, mental health and climate anxiety, and what is the importance of this community resilience? There is a climate change. This proportionally affects the communities, thereby increasing their displacement due to sea level rise and extreme weather. Nowadays, in Chennai itself, we are facing very high temperature even in this March, and we are expecting in the May we will be getting 47 degree. Previously, it was by 10 years ago, it is 32 degree. That itself is a very high temperature. But day by day, the temperature is going on increasing. And because of all these things, the heat stroke occurs and the human health are being affected. And the mental health issues, because of all these things, mainly we will be getting health issues and mental health issues such as anxiety, depression related to climate change. And also it is going on increasing, not decreasing. So strengthening the community-based resilience is also initiatives is also very, very crucial. And next we shall move on to strategies for building the climate resilience. First we shall plan the sustainable urban plan, and coming into instead of using the fossil fuels, we can move on to renewable energy, thereby creating the greener infrastructure and strengthening the disaster preparedness, and also some of the policy intervention and climate action plan has to be taken into consideration. The key strategies are sustainable urban planning, like building the flood resistant infrastructure, green spaces and all. And as I already told, instead of using the fossil fuels, we can move on to renewable energy resources, thereby mitigating the climate change and strengthening the disaster preparedness through early warning systems, thereby we can save the lives. That is, as we give in the warning to the fisherman community, whether the flood is coming like that, we can make the lives to be saved. And the policy makers has to implement a strong climate action plan to derive the systematic change in the country. So next, what is the role of technology and innovation in this climate discussion is smart grid and resilient energy systems. As I have told, we can switch over our usage from fossil fuels to renewable energy resources, and then AI and big data in climate prediction and sustainable construction material, climate friendly transportation solution. And by making all this into action, we can make our net zero into action. There is a technology plays a crucial role in climate resilience. Thereby, in a small place, we can ensure the reliable energy distribution during the disorders. And during disorder, we are unable to get the power. So at that time, if we are having a good technology, with the help of the smart grid, we can make the power always available to the consumer. AI and big data help predicting the climate patterns and also improve the disorder response. So the sustainable materials will be reducing the environmental impact in construction, and also greener transportation like electric vehicle, usage of electric vehicle, and thereby we are cutting the carbon dioxide emission. So these are some of the strategies we can implement in our society and make the climate resilience to be reduced. Some of the cases which I have taken here is Netherlands flood prevention strategy, advanced water management system like lakes, floating buildings, protect against the rising sea level. And in Japan, the earthquake resistant infrastructure has been created. There is innovative engineering which minimizes the damage from the natural disaster. And in USA, wildfire management in California has been built, thereby controlling the burns, and fire resistant urban planning will be reducing the wildfire risk. And in India, heat wave preparedness initiatives have been taken. There is early warning systems, cool roof programs, and public awareness to mitigate the extreme heat impacts. So from these strategies, we can see several countries have implemented the climate resilience strategy, and the Netherlands has the advanced flood management, as I have already told, and the policy and the government's approaches. What are the policies they can take is the role of international agreement, the Paris Agreement, and the SDG goal attainment by 2030, and national adoption plans, corporate sustainability initiatives, and the community lead resilience projects. All these are some of the things which I have taken from the internet. The international agreements like the Paris Agreement guides the climate resilient efforts. And some of the critical sectors are corporations are investigating in sustainability initiatives, and local communities play a key role in creating the grassroots to the climate resilience projects. So what are the call for action is we have to the government alone can take the action. As an individual, we have to take some initiative, and those individual action will be put as a collective action. So this has to be taken into very, very important consideration, and encouraging the people to use to make sustainable practices in daily life, and investigating the climate education and research, how these are happening, and what are the remedies we can take into action. So each and everyone has a role to play in building climate resilience. Individuals can adopt sustainable practices. Thereby, we can reduce the waste, reducing the waste, conserving the energy, and even the wastages which we are throwing into the dustbin can be segregated. Instead of throwing the vegetables in a plastic cover, if you put it into the ground, and the vegetables will be used by the soil, but we are putting it into the plastic bag, so which cannot be used by our soil. These things can be taken into consideration by the individual. Thereby, we can make the society to take over the climate resilience. So the business and policy makers must also collaborate on this climate action, and investigating in climate education to the future generation has to be taken into consideration. And from this information, we come to a conclusion that climate resilience means adapting, mitigating, and thriving in face of climate disruption. This raising temperature, floods, wildfires, which are threatening our community, but we can overcome all these problems by sustainable urban planning, renewable energy into existence, and resilient infrastructure, and disaster preparedness. We can build a stronger future for our younger generation. The technology policies, global cooperation are very crucial in this scenario. By embracing the collective action, innovation, education, we can protect our ecosystem, economies, and societies. a resilient world is possible. Act now for a sustainable tomorrow. Thank you for giving an opportunity. Thank you.
Dr. Lakshmi, that was a powerhouse presentation. You start, come on, I'm going to present it, I'm not going to stop anywhere. Well, we would request Dr. Vasanthi Reena Williams, ma'am, to summarize it for Dr. Lakshmi. Thank you so much, ma'am. So please introduce yourself, Dr. Vasanthi, and then you can go ahead with your summary. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Srividhya. I'm Professor Reena Williams. I'm Vasanthi Reena Williams, commonly called Reena. I head the Department of Management Studies at Vidya Vikas Institute of Engineering and Technology. I'm also into the research department. I just going to, saving time. Dr. Lakshmi really covered key aspects of climate change, followed by the impact that it has on social and community getting impacted. The presentation also suggested strategies. The flow was well taken, and I think she was able to drive her objective across. She spoke about sustainable urban planning and using renewable energy sources. She suggested a strong climate action plan and change from using fossil fuels to sustainable fuels. Just as the previous speakers mentioned, net zero can be achieved, I think, through collective efforts, and I think drops of water form the ocean, and I think a lot of like-minded people we meet because I think primarily it's because of the climate change, and we are finding it so difficult, and we are understanding the impact, because this talk was happening, discussions were happening by people maybe a decade ago, saying that you can expect such things to happen, but we didn't take it seriously. And now, I think when we are experiencing it, we are taking it very seriously. So that's my conclusion on Dr. Lakshmi's presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vasanthi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, following which Mr. Balaji, please. Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi. It was really a mind-blowing presentation. Thank you. Mr. Balaji?
Thank you.
Would you like to add on there, Mr. Balaji?
Yeah.
Yes, your expertise, please.
Audible? Yes. Yeah, audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay. So, yes, she has very clearly given a direction, Lakshmi Madam, as to how it can be achieved.
I think here's some network problem there, so it's fine. So thank you, Mr. Balaji. I think you have some network problem. By the time you sort it out, we'll come back to you again.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Balaji.
Yeah, so I was just saying that, yes, once the policy is fixed by the government and it is put on the corporates to pay more taxes, probably that's the future that we're looking at. Maybe there is going to be a very heavy tax that will be imposed on entities which is not going to comply with the carbon-related emissions. So that is the thing that she was trying to bring in perspective. There has to be a clear focus as to what if I breach the limit. So that kind of a compulsion or mandate from the government will ensure that the net zero is also achieved as a global practice. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Balaji. Thank you so much. Thanks for all your big support there. Thank you. Thank you. Over to Tanuja ma'am, the boss for today.
Next speaker, I invite Dr. Sandhya Madam from MGR University, and she is representing MGR University and IGN, and I invite her to share his insights on decarbonization targets. Point number 4. Ma'am, please.
Dr. Sandhya?
Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. Let me share my screen.
Yes, please. It's loading, ma'am. Your screen is visible. I think you're quite audible. You can go on to the presentation mode now.
Okay.
Start presenting, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Today we are driving into a critical and timely topic, right decarbonization targets. So, as the world aims for net zero emission by 2050, biotechnology plays a crucial role in reducing carbon footprints and creating sustainable solutions for this. So, over the next 15 minutes, we will be exploring the major emission sources in biotech strategies for emission reduction and some real case studies. So as industries worldwide work to reduce their carbon footprint, biotechnology stands out as a game changer through sustainable production processes, renewable energy integration, and bio-based alternatives to fossil fuels. Biotech is offering solutions that might minimize the greenhouse gas emissions while driving innovation, from biofuels that replace traditional gasoline to biodegradable additives that reduce plastic waste. Biotechnology is transforming industries where we'll be seeing a certain advancement in carbon capture technologies and even eco-friendly pharmaceuticals that contribute to a lower carbon future. So this shift towards the decarbonization isn't just about meeting the global climate targets like net zero by 2050. It is also presents a huge economic opportunity for businesses to adopt the greener practices, enhancing the resource efficiency and stay competitive in the sustainable driven world. So by leveraging all this kind of advancement in the synthetic biology, fermentation and bioprocessing, the biotechnology industry has the power to revolutionize the traditional sectors and accelerate the transition to a low carbon economy. This is just about the transition to a low carbon economy, but it is about shaping more sustainable future for everyone. As we move forward, biotechnology will be the heart of climate action during both environmental and economic benefits. So I'll start with the definition about decarbonization as we all know it, but still I want to start with it. Decarbonization refers to the process of reducing carbon dioxide emission across industries. In biotechnology, this means transition to a cleaner energy sources, optimizing processes and innovating sustainable solutions to mitigate environmental impact. So the major emission sources in biotechnology will be the greenhouse gas emission. So this emission primarily comes from energy use like raw materials resourcing and production processes and waste management. So biotechnology will completely operate on contributing to the emissions in various ways like energy intensive processes using fermenters and bioreactor operators, and dependence on the fossil fuel powered equipment, waste management and disposal, and transportation and supply chain emissions. So the role in achieving the net zero goals by the biotechnologists is like a key driver in the global effort to reach the net zero emission, where the amount of greenhouse gases emitted will be balanced by removing from the atmosphere. So the major solution that is being offered by the biotechnologists to cut the emissions are the renewable energy integration, carbon capture utilization, sustainable production methods, circular economic principles. So as we all know, already the speakers before me have spoken about the Paris Agreement. So the Paris Agreement has been signed by 176 countries and commits to the limited global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius by achieving the net zero carbon emission by 2050. So the net zero balances the carbon emission by so where the biotechnology will be like meeting the certain involvement by reducing the reliance on fossil fuels and by adopting cleaner production methods, enhancing carbon capture and storage. So these kind of methods can be done through the renewable energy adoption, energy efficiency improvements, electrification of transport and industries, carbon capture and storage, and reforestation and carbon sequestration technology. So the biotechnology plays a major role in helping nations meet their Paris Agreement targets through biofuels, green hydrogen to decarbonize energy and transportation, and sustainable agriculture with climate-resistant crops and lower emission fertilizers, carbon capture using microbe and algae to remove the carbon dioxide from the air, biodegradable materials and green manufacturing that is being used for replacing the fossil-based plastics and chemicals. So the science-based targets initiative provides a framework for biotechnology companies to set emission reduction targets aligned with the Paris Agreement goals for limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So these targets help biotechnology firms transition towards net zero emission while promoting sustainable innovation. So there are three scopes, like scope one will be like the direct emissions from company-owned facilities and vehicles, and scope two will be the indirect emission from purchased electricity, steam, and or cooling, and scope three will be the value chain emissions from suppliers, logistics, and the product use. So the key science-based targets for the biotechnology industries will be the decarbonization energy use and sustainable biomanufacturing, green supply chain logistics, carbon removal and circular economy, sustainable agriculture and food systems. So we measure and report the progress. So what we do, the firms will align the SBTi net zero standard by tracking the emission based upon the first three scopes using carbon accounting tools, and will set the near term for 5 to 10 years, or long term will be set it to target the cut emission by 90% before 2050, and will will be reporting the progress annually, and will be adjusting the strategies for continuous improvement. So one example for such companies are the Biogen, where 100% renewable electricity and net zero operations are done, and Novozymes 50% emission reduction in supply chains by 2030 is being targeted. And DSM, like net zero goal across entire value chain, will be given by 2050. So, and the UN Sustainable Development Goals related to the climate action that will be followed by the biotechnologies will be Goal 7, where affordable and clean energy, Goal 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, Goal 12, responsible consumption and production, and Goal 13, climate action. So the short-term renewable energy and efficiency, to achieve the net zero, biotech companies have to follow a certain strategic roadmap that focuses on the renewable energy adoption and efficiency improvements. And for the midterm for 2030 to 2040, implementation of electrification and circular economic principles has to be followed. And for the long term for 2040 to 2050, scale carbon capture and synthetic biology solutions has to be set. And the key strategies for the emission reduction biotechnology will be completely focused on energy efficiency, where AI and smart manufacturing combine together for that efficiency, and advanced agricultural intelligence and automative optimization of energy use reduces the waste in biotech production. So this process optimizes the data-driven approaches that enhance the energy efficiency in bioprocessing. And the second thing is the sustainable feedstock. Bio-based raw materials, shifting from fossil-based to the renewable feedstocks like algae, plant-based materials, lower the carbon footprint. So the waste utilization from repurposing the agricultural industrial waste into the valuable bio-based products is another key strategy. And the third one is the green supply chain, where the low-carbon logistics, implementing the electric vehicles, biofuels, and optimize the transportation routes to cut emissions. So the waste reduction, like where the circular economy strategies like closed loop production and biodegradable packaging minimizes the environmental impact. So renewable energy in biotechnology, where we switch to the solar, wind and bioenergy that helps the biotech firms to lower the carbon footprint. Companies adopting 100% of renewable energies can drastically cut emissions. Like solar, wind and bioenergy integration utilizes a mix of renewable resources to power the biotech facilities. So bioenergy from waste or from the bioproducts can supplement power needs. So the second thing is the case studies of renewable energy adoption, where the leading biotech firms have successfully transitioned to 100% renewable energy. And examples like included, like we can say Solar Power Lab and wind-driven manufacturing. The third thing is the benefit cost reduction and sustainability, where the lower operational cost due to reduced reliance on fossil fuels, significant reduction in carbon emissions, aligning with the net zero goals. So these are the major switch of the biotech companies that will be like adopted for giving an renewable energy adoption to that particular thing. And biotechnology roles in carbon capture utilization. So engineered microbes, where they can convert carbon dioxide into a valuable products like biofuels, and algae-based systems that absorbs carbon dioxide and generate bio-based materials. Carbon sequentialization of technologies, like where they store emissions safely underground. So biotech and CCU technologies, one example I can give you, like the microbial carbon fixation, where engineered bacteria is used to convert carbon dioxide into biofuels or bioplastics, and algae-based carbon capture. Algae efficiently absorb carbon dioxide and can be used for biofuel production. And next is the sustainable waste and circular economy. The biodegradable packaging reduces the plastic waste. So recycling biotech byproducts minimizes the environmental impact. So waste to energy solutions convert waste into biofuels. So example I can quote for biodegradable packaging is the mushroom-based packaging, seaweed films and biopolymer coatings that is being into the packaging industries now, and upcycling waste into bioproducts, like where coffee waste is used for biofuel, citrus peels for essential oils, or plastic waste turned into fabric, that is under the research. And the industrial symbiosis for zero waste, like breweries providing that is spent grains for livestock feed or biofuel production. So many researchers has been done for upgrading the circular economy and the waste reduction here. So the biotech and decarbonization policies will have a landscape where the governments have introduced so much of policies to drive the decarbonization, the carbon pricing and emission trading schemes and incentives for the green innovation, stricter environmental regulations for certain biotech firms to control the decarbonization. And I could give a case study for leading biotech companies. The first case study, company A with net zero strategy and impact, company B circular economy in biotech, C will be the renewable energy driven production. The first case study, the real world biotech companies finding sustainability through net zero strategy, circular economy models in renewable energy driven production. First case study will be the Novozymes net zero strategy and impact. So about this company, it's a global biotech company specializing in enzymes and microbial solutions. So the decarbonization approach will be based upon the science-based targets. We are committed to reducing carbon emissions by 50% by 2030, and they are trying to achieve the net zero by 2050. Renewable energy, they use 100% of its electricity in Denmark come from wind power. So low carbon supply chain that is being partnered with suppliers and to ensure the sustainable raw materials. And biotech-driven carbon reduction, that has been developed by the enzyme solutions that replace the fossil-based chemicals in industries like detergents, biofuels, and food production. So the impact, they reduce the carbon dioxide emissions in industry processes and by millions of tons annually. The second case study is LanzaTech, circular economy in biotech. That is about a company where a carbon recycling company that transforms industrial emissions into a valuable product. So their decarbonization approach will be like gas fermentation technology, where they convert industrial carbon dioxide and waste gases into ethanol and chemical used in consumer goods. And closed loop systems like capture carbon emissions from steel mills and refineries, turning them into a sustainable aviation fuels and plastics. Biodegradable and recyclable materials, partners with brands like Zara and Unilever to create a sustainable fabrics and packaging. So the impact that they have created is like prevented over 2 million metric tons of carbon dioxide from being released into the atmosphere. The case 3 study will be like Amdris, renewable energy driven biotech production. So a synthetic biology company that is focused on producing bio-based ingredients. So biomanufacturing with renewable energy, for that they use sugarcane fermentation powered by solar and wind energy to produce sustainable alternatives to petroleum-based chemicals. And for lower carbon personal care products, that is supplies brands like Biosense and with eco-friendly ingredients, and green hydrogen innovation, exploring hydrogen as an energy source for bioreactors. So they created an impact for reducing the reliance on fossil fuels in cosmetic and pharmaceutical industries. And when we go for the challenges and opportunities, the barriers to biotech decarbonization focuses on high cost, where the initial investments in the sustainable biotech solutions, R&D and infrastructure upgrades are expensive. So regulatory hurdles, compliances with environmental pollution, their safety standards and their lengthy approval processes slow down innovation. And scalability issues, where many biotech solutions work in the lab but struggle to scale up for mass production. And market uncertainty, fluctuating policies, limited consumer awareness, and lack of financial incentives can deter investment. The second challenge will be the opportunities for growth. The first thing is the green finance, where growing access to sustainable linked loans, carbon credits, and ESG driven investments. The next thing is with the innovation in bioengineering, where they create an advancements in synthetic biology, enzyme engineering, and bioprocessing, reducing the cost and improvement efficiency. Third one will be the consumer demand for sustainability, the rising preferences for biodegradable products here, and plant-based alternatives or eco-friendly solutions drive market growth. So the fourth one will be the government and industry support, the tax incentives, carbon pricing.
Yeah, madam. Please stick on to the time.
Okay, yeah, I'll finish it up now. And sustainable policies encourage biotech companies to decarbonization. Okay. So when we go for the roadmap for implementation, we have to assess and set goals for carbon footprint analysis and life cycle assessment based on science targets, and for development of strategy and securing funding for green finance tax initiative and pilot projects, implement sustainable solutions where we have to stick on to the renewable energy, circular economy, and waste upcycling. Monitor and scale the track progress, ESG reporting, and green certification. So that we based upon all this, the net zero biotech with scalable and long-term impact will be produced. So my conclusion will be like based upon the entire content. Biotechnology will be playing a crucial role in driving decarbonization through innovations like carbon capture and circular economy solutions and renewable energy driven protection. While challenges such as high cost and regulatory hurdles exist, they can be addressed through green finance policy initiatives and technology advancements. Collaborating among industries, policymakers, and consumers is essential to scale these solutions effectively. So by adopting science-based targets and sustainable practices, biotech can lead the transition toward a net zero future. Now is the time to integrate biotech-driven decarbonization into global climate strategies and accelerate meaningful action against climate change. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Sandhya. And in spite of her ma'am having some internet problem, she just managed to deliver the goods there. Yes, as you rightly said, we should have targets which are set basically for the energy sector, for the transportation sector, for the industry sector, for the agriculture sector, and progress review. As such, it is very important to monitor the progress for satisfying the stakeholder engagement, as I told before, with the incentives and accountability of establishing the mechanisms to ensure that the target achievement is being in process, and setting the right decarbonization targets requires a thorough understanding of the emission sources and the reduction opportunities, such that we are able to give the restoration process as and when, as the place, as it is required, with adaptability mode according to the stakeholder expectation. By adopting robust target setting framework and regularly reviewing the process, organizations can ensure that they are on the pathway to effective decarbonization. Thank you so much. And over to Mr. Balaji, if you would like to add on anything there.
Yeah, I'll hardly take a minute. Yes, it was a wonderful presentation. She being part of the biotechnology, it's well worth mentioning that the gases involved, of course, Dr. Sandhya would definitely vouch for what I'm saying. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, perfluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbon, and sulfur hexafluoride. These are the 6 elements which are considered as causing damage to the environment, and we need to get a carbon credit in case there is any reduction or absorption of these gases. So she has very clearly said that we need to use technology very extensively to see the kind of impact it will create. Alternate fuels, biofuels, like the government of India already have a program where ethanol is getting mixed with diesel to produce biodiesel, all these things. Plus, as I've been advocating in all the forum, we should have a huge amount of focus on research, which actually reduces the consumption of biofuel rather than only looking at alternative greener fuels for us to take us forward. If there is a huge reduction in the consumption of fossil fuel, that also contributes positively to the environmental objective of control of temperature, which is very essential, which is the backbone of the entire discussion that we're having. So yes, it was really nice. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Srividhya.
Thank you. Dr. Vasanthi, would you like to add on anything, please, as a summary?
Yes. She did, Dr. Sandhya gave very clear picture on the need for decarbonization, and her study also focused on, which I may say, decarbonization. Balaji mentioned, crucial strategy for combating climate change, and she also touched upon several methods that can be adopted. So she, touched upon every point, and the study also clearly focused on policies that need to be put in place to align the practices to ensure continuous improvement. And very well presented. Thank you.
Over to Tanisha ma'am to welcome the next speaker. And maybe have an open request. I know it's a platform where everybody would like to contribute more and more, but with due apologies, sincerely, I would request the speakers to keep on to the timing. I know there is more to talk, there is more to contribute. Yes. Everybody is so enthusiastic. I'm overwhelmed. I'm running short of words by seeing the enthusiasm, but still, taking into consideration of everybody's time, I think we should really adhere to it, please, kindly.
Yes, ma'am. You are right. It's a wide area. The speakers has to be very strict on the time. Yes, ma'am. So with this note, I invite Roshni Mohan, representing Sairam institutions, and also IGIN, and she's going to address on investment in carbon markets, point number 5, and she's an engineering graduate of EE, an employee of Tata Consultancy Services, and CEO and founder of Studio Strong Visionary, and also secretary of IEEE Madras section. Coordinator of IGN. Welcome, Roshni.
Thank you so much for your introduction, ma'am.
Yeah, your screen is loading, Roshni. Your screen
is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible and you're quite audible. You need to go to the presentation mode. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So good evening everyone, it's a pleasure to be here today. I'm Roshni Mohan, a student, founder and CEO of Studio Strong Visionaries, coordinator IGIN and secretary of IEEE Site Madras Section AJ. Today I will be presenting on investments in carbon projects. This presentation will explore why carbon investments are crucial, the various techniques involved, global investment trends, regional analysis, challenges and case studies of successful investments. Let's begin. Introduction. Climate change is not a distant threat, it's a present reality. The global temperature has already risen by 1.1 degrees Celsius since pre-industrial levels. Urgent action is required, and one of the most impactful ways to combat climate change is through investments in carbon projects. These investments drive the transition to a low-carbon economy, mitigate climate risk, and upon a $1 trillion economic opportunity. The objectives of today's session are understanding the rise of carbon investments and the challenges faced, exploring the role of G20 in accelerating these investments and future strategies. Coming to the next slide, understanding carbon projects. Before we delve into investments, let's first understand what carbon projects are. These are initiatives specifically aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Some key types include renewable energy projects involving solar, wind and hydropower, reforestation and afforestation, large-scale tree planting efforts, carbon capture and storage, technologies that capture carbon emissions before they enter the atmosphere, energy efficiency projects, innovations that optimize energy use and reduce carbon footprints. These projects align with global sustainability goals, particularly those outlined in the Paris Agreement by the International Energy Agency (IEA), which aim for net zero emissions. Key strategies for achieving these goals including reducing carbon footprints and adopting eco-friendly technologies. Let's go into the investment techniques in carbon. To successfully invest in carbon projects, there are 3 key steps. Identify the right project and conduct a feasibility and risk analysis. Secure funding and capital sources, then implement and monitor the project. Monetize the project and ensure return on investment. Funding can be obtained through various channels including direct project funding, carbon credit trading, green bonds and climate funds, public-private partnerships, and technology-based investments. Going to the global investment trends in carbon projects. The global carbon credit market is projected to reach 22 billion by 2027. According to the World Bank, over 95 billion was invested in carbon reduction projects in 2023. Key investors include government corporations, private equity firms, and impact investors. Emerging trends show that Asia is leading in afforestation and renewable energy projects. Europe is heavily investing in green deals and net zero plans. North America remains a strong player in carbon investments. Going on to the next slide, economic and environmental benefits. Investing in carbon projects brings both economic and environmental benefits. Economically, these projects drive long-term sustainability, corporate growth, and job creation. Environmentally, benefits include sustainable agriculture and improved land use, enhanced air quality and public health benefits, increased government incentives and tax benefits. Going to the next slide of investment trends by region 2024, and these statistical data are collected late today. A regional breakdown of carbon investment shows East Asia and the Pacific attracted 33% of global carbon credit investments in 2022. Sub-Saharan Africa witnessed a 70% of increase in investment share. Europe received only 1% of global carbon credit funding. North America remains a major player in attracting up to 16% of global funding. Going to the challenges in carbon investments. Although there are lots of benefits here, there are a lot more of challenges and risks in investing. Despite growth, carbon investments face several challenges, including regulatory uncertainty and complex policies, high initial cost and concerns about return on investment, market risk due to carbon pricing volatility, verification challenges, and competition from fossil fuel industries. To overcome these, strong policies, transparency, and innovation are essential. Going to the case studies of successful carbon investments. Let's look at some real-world examples of successful carbon investments. Ørsted of Denmark invested over 30 billion in offshore wind projects, transitioning from fossil fuels to 85% renewable energy, reducing emissions by 86% since 2006. Tesla from USA earned over 5 billion through carbon credit sales, pushing the automotive industry toward low-emission vehicles. Amazon from Brazil invested 100 million in rainforest conservation and reforestation, offsetting millions of tons of CO2 while supporting local communities. Canada's carbon capture and storage Boundary Dam project, a 1.3 billion investment in coal-fired power plant retrofitting, capturing 1 million tons of CO2 annually. Kenya's Carbon Finance for Sustainable Agriculture, a UN-backed program that improved soil health, boosted crop yields, and generated carbon credits for farmers. And this is the most important point of this presentation, G20's role in promoting carbon investments. The G20 plays a crucial role in accelerating carbon investments through policy and regulatory support, establishing strong climate policies, and setting international benchmarks for carbon reduction efforts. Financial mobilization, allocating funds for climate initiatives, including green financing mechanisms and investment in carbon markets. Technology and innovation, encouraging the development of sustainable technologies such as carbon capture, renewable energy solutions, and energy efficiency improvements. Global collaboration, facilitating international cooperation, ensuring that developing nations have access to carbon investment opportunities, and promoting fair carbon credit markets. Additionally, standardization of carbon markets by establishing unified guidelines for carbon credit verification and trading to ensure transparency and reliability in the global carbon economy. Support for developing countries, providing technical assistance, financial aid, and investment incentives for carbon reduction projects in emerging economies. About to conclusion and next steps. To conclude, investments in carbon projects are essential for achieving global climate goals and transitioning to a low carbon economy. Challenges like Regulatory uncertainty, high cost, and market volatility exist, but strong policies, financial incentives, and technological advancements are driving progress. The G20's leadership in mobilizing finance and supporting innovation is critical for scaling carbon investments. Moving forward, collaboration between governments, business, and the financial institutions will be key to ensuring sustainable and impactful carbon reduction efforts worldwide. Thank you for the time and thoughtful consideration. I believe that by strategically investing in high quality carbon projects, we can create tangible and lasting positive impacts. Let us move forward with urgency and determination to achieve our climate goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roshni. Smaller in size, greater in spirits. Does the gap fit you? Roshni, I repeat once again, smaller in size, greater in spirits. Does the gap fit you, Roshni?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome. That was an awesome presentation. Yes, Vasanti Reena Williams, ma'am. Please.
Yeah. Yes, I too firstly want to congratulate Roshni Mohan, a young graduate, for taking interest in this SDG objectives. I wish to say that your involvement should, definitely motivate and ensure your circle of friends and contacts to take initiative just like you. Anyway, coming to the presentation, she has presented statistics to justify her statement on carbon investment. As I understand, carbon investment started more than 2 decades ago. They didn't take much space and time in the news columns, initially, but then it went down. But then, however, there's a strong comeback after the UN SDG goals have been initiated across the globe. Well presented, Roshni. Keep going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Really a mind-blowing presentation. Thanks for all the great efforts that you have put in presenting your views and your insights and references. And we had very huge takeaways from you. Really. Thank you so much. Over to Mr. Balaji. Thank you.
Yeah, when it said that when Azharuddin plays, they say that the entire innings itself is a highlight. You cannot just put one portion of the entire innings. So Roshni's performance was also like that. It was like, as her name, it was well laid out. She threw lights in all the areas where we need to stay focused. And best part is she stayed well within the time that was allotted to her, but then she covered the entire aspect that was assigned to her. Excellent presentation, Roshni. We look forward to you leading the entire revolution that the world requires, and then be the light that the world of carbon credit, then control of temperature and all the other things are required from your generation. Good luck to you as well. Well done.
Thank you.
Definitely,
Thank you,
sir. Thank you so much.
Not to miss in the mention, her mentor, Dr. Tanuja ma'am. Thank you so much. Thanks for Sairam Engineering College for making their very noticeable presence over here. Thank you.
All credits to you as well, Tanuja, madam. Excellent. You have a brilliant pro-teach with you. Nurture and then mentor her. She's going to change the world in a bigger way than we can ever.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Over to you, ma'am, to welcome the next speaker. I think it's Professor Joseph Stives. Thank you.
Yes. So I'm very privileged to welcome our next speaker, Professor Dr. Joseph Stives. He is a DBA and is a distinguished researcher and professor specializing in sustainability, innovation, and public-private management. And he is going to address on the pointer number 7, a global efforts to reach net zero. Welcome, sir.
Hello. I'm feeling really welcome to this conversation today as an integrating part of my recent speech in a couple of events that have been discussing the importance of achieve net zero goals by 2050. I would like to thank once again a lot Dr. Srividhya Sukumar for this invitation, and it's really a great honor to be here sharing some thoughts, some experiences, and some reflections on the subject today. I will also thank Dr. Renuka Thakur our brave coordinator of Global Sustainable Future Network, and I'm proud to be a member of GSFN also. So I would like, please, to ask your permission to share my screen in order to be as fast as possible with this presentation today. And so probably at the bottom end, we will have a chance to talk a little bit further on this.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. It's always welcome to have you here, and it's always our pleasure. And the screen is loading now. You are quite audible.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's still loading. It's loaded, actually.
I will put on our presentation mode.
Yeah. There we are. You're all good to go, Professor. Thank you.
Oh,
The
thank
floor
you
is
very
all
much, Srividhya. Thank you. We will be reaching a little bit more during, it is my third experience here today with you in this G20 International One Planet Cabinet. So this is the subject today, the road to net zero. And this is all part of our climate adaptation conference. And I'm really proud to be here because I have had the opportunity in these early times to join two significant events as conferences or a speaker. One of this really took my heart because it was at the Energy and Climate Forum and was broadcasted to all Portuguese-speaking countries in the world. Not only Brazil and Portugal, but also countries in Asia and Africa too. And the other one was last year with the Hygiene Megathon 2024. And I was invited to talk a little bit about this subject of net zero and try to build a slight bridge connection with this new Silk Road from China and advances of this that are related to Brazil, of course. We have a lot, and we have just had a recent news that we have, let's say, upgraded our relationship with China in this subject too. Well, I'm Professor Dr. José Luis Esteves. I am proud to be here. You have heard a lot, and I have been brightly introduced, so we'll skip my presentation, but I would like also to add some two very new announcements that are now part of two different chairs in the Institute of Advanced Studies from Universidade de São Paulo, USP. One chair is Octavio Frias' chair, as I'm acting as researcher in communication, democracy, and diversity. And the other one is the Oscar Sala chair in governance of artificial intelligence agents. And I have been just invited to, I have applied to be a researcher, and I just received the information. So I would like to bring these couple chairs from Instituto de Estudos Avançados, Advanced Institutes from University of São Paulo, Universidade of São Paulo. Thank you very much. And then achieving net zero emissions is really a critical goal in the fight of our fight. All colleagues that have been involved in this gathering of minds today and in the past weeks and certainly in the coming weeks. But we require a lot of coordinated global efforts and, of course, innovative strategies. And so a global effort to reach net zero, in my opinion, not only mitigates climate risks, but also drives inclusive development and align with global sustainability goals, the SDGs. And there is a very strong effort for South-to-South global speech perspectives in these recent years. if we consider all these actions that we need to achieve by 2030, it will begin with the increase of solar and wind capacity, and will go up to the building of electricity transmission and pipelines for carbon dioxide and hydrogen gas. And I'm proud to be here to present something that I believe that is quite new and updated. Of course, I will talk a little bit more about Brazil because I live in Brazil and I'm a researcher in Brazil, but this is a global perspective subject. And so we are in a race to net zero, and we are always invited to see how our countries are making in terms of the carbon neutral pledge. And there is, in this race, some carbon neutral goals by country. And I believe that it's time to put it in the center of the discussion in our conferences and in our, gathering of minds table. I have divided into 4 sections, and one section is importance of global net zero efforts. And we are talking about directly climate change mitigation, because achieving net zero is central for mitigating climate change and limiting the global warming to 1.5 Celsius. Of course, we have heard a lot in this morning about this, and this will require reducing greenhouse gas emissions and enhance, of course, carbon sinks. So this is a visual that I brought to you to this table discussion that showcase how climate change will affect generations, and was published in Washington Post review last year. And then you'll see from the beginning of the 90s up to where would like to create a pathway in the year 2030 with the SDGs, and then going ahead until the 2100 with the warm continue beyond the year 2100. We are talking about a global scale perspective of carbon emission that had to be reduced in order to propose that we stop in the point that we have already reached it, because we are at a global risk right now, because we have overpassed 7 of the 9 Earth boundaries in terms of climate impact. So this is something that we used to do, and we have to uphold our resilience, especially in the most disadvantaged communities in our countries and worldwide. And then there is also the economic and social benefits, and the transition into a net zero economy, of course, can drive sustainable economic growth, create jobs, and improve public health by reducing air pollution. There is a chart that I know all of you probably have been in touch in the past years. That is the impact of climate change on human health. And this is also it was especially addressed in one cabinet that was really dedicated to the One Health framework by G20 international cabinet. And that is something that we can add from the World Economic Forum. Everything that affects our human health in a direct link, if we make a direct link, no matter if it's severe weather, extreme heat, environmental degradation, and so forth. So we have to convey our efforts in order to drive this like something that every human in our countries can understand. That's why our researchers are working for. So we have to prevent all human diseases and all effort that we are trying to do with the net zero, achieving global net zero. And this is what we are trying to work with. And there are some regional examples I would like always to put like this: sector pathways to net zero in Brazil to reduce its greenhouse gas emission by 37% until the year 2025 and 50% by the year 2030, with the goal of achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. Of course, these are words put in a paper, but we have been trying to connect our efforts in directing key strategies that include halting illegal deforestation, developing sectoral decarbonization pathways, and of course, investing in renewable energy and biofuels. This is an example, is the actual picture of the Amazon region, and we all are trying to drive our efforts in order to transition to a greener energy grid here in Brazil. And it is a very difficult challenge, because in Brazil, we are such a continental country with a lot of biomes, not only the Amazon forest, but other four very vibrant and different ecology biomes that we have to deal with. So this energy transition means a lot, and we have to be always pushing and always trying to obtain a very clear mindset from our government authorities that this is something reliable, this is something we have to pursue. And there are some previously presented statements that I have made just last year during another time, and I was trying to connect the dots with this new Silk Road and the net zero advantage for Brazil. And of course, when we address this subject of the Silk Road connection, leveraging of Brazil's strategic position and resources to enhance trade and cooperation with the Silk Road countries will foster sustainable development and climate resilience. And resilience, again, is the most important, probably, especially in the vulnerable communities in our global south, that we will always have to upgrade and upgrade. So this is a brief chart trying to experience what this new Silk Road is, and how this switch can be affordable in order to mitigate the impacts of the climate change that we experience right now. And Brazilian government, of course, has some key initiatives to achieve its net zero goals. We have presented new climate target with the new nationally determined contribution, NDC, updating NDC to reduce net greenhouse gas emissions by 59% to up to 67% by the year 2035, if we compare to the same levels in the year 2005. So this target translates to a reduction of average 850 million to 1.05 billion tons of CO2 equivalent by the year 2035. And also the action plan to prevent and combat deforestation of illegal Amazon, the PPCDAM, and the government has launched the PPCDAM with a target of zero deforestation by the year 2030, and the early results show a 36 drop, thank God, in primary forest losses in 2023 if we compare to the year 2022, and this target even get better by the year 2024 also. And there is a national climate change policy and a climate plan and ecological transformation in place, driving both to include sectoral mitigation and adaptation strategies up to the year 2035, and also to focus on reducing greenhouse gas emission and adapting to climate impact. So there is a chart from the Talanoa Institute that is really updated that can showcase a little bit what is in terms of reduction, this target that we have made up to this year, 2035. And of course, the strength law enforcement. And this is a chart that exemplifies, and it's up to date until the year 2024, what enhancing law enforcement means in order to contribute with the reduction of our deforestation rates. And this is a showcase of 36% decrease in primary forest loss if we compare 2024, 2023 with the year 2022. And there are some other regional examples in Europe. We have talked a little bit last week about the Green Deal. And then we have also some corporate commitments that I would like to add from my last speech from the last Sunday cabinet. That is the corporate commitment. So many European companies have committed to achieve net zero emissions by the year 2050. Companies in the UK, Germany, and France, they are really investing in carbon capture technology, hydrogen projects, and renewable energy. And the chart will show a little bit how companies are in terms of net zero commitments in this top 5 jurisdictions. So we have examples from this decreasing line in United Kingdom and Germany, Norway, and France. And there are also examples in Asia. We have talked a little bit in the past weeks about this, but there is something to add. This China renewable energy growth is something incredible in the media, in the Occidental media. It's very difficult to follow all these achievements in terms of greening transition in China, but they are really committed to achieve, and by what we can see in both urban and rural areas, probably they will reach a carbon neutral by the year 2060, because they are now investing a lot of money in terms of wind and solar energy. These are actual pictures that you see through all China at this very moment in the year 2025. And there are some other regional examples that we can bring to our table discussion, just like the Japanese net zero initiatives. And this Japanese part of the Asia Zero Emission Community, ZEC, that was launched in the year 2023, and it includes 11 Asian countries that are committed to accelerate the energy transition towards net zero emissions, because, all together can make a more reliable and fast difference to achieve our net zero goals. And that's also just to finish and to get my conclusion, regional examples from Africa. I always like to pinpoint and bring Africa to the discussion table, because I do believe that Africa is the cradle of humanity. We, of course, when we will relate to our birth as humans, we will have to pay attention to Africa, and green growth strategies in African countries like Kenya, Malawi, and South Africa that are aligning with net zero targets. These are something that we have to call and to take a closer look at this moment, because this strategy focus on renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and forest conservation, and financial investments that are needed. We have a lot of climate change impacts on Africa, so achieving net zero in Africa requires substantial financial resources that we estimate that will come up to as $2.8 trillion by the year 2050. So international cooperation and financial support are essential to meet these needs. There are, of course, two more sections that I have highlighted in the past: data-driven insights and policy design, and of course the transparency and accountability with all these reporting mechanisms that are in place, and following this 5 phase of climate finance transparency framework that I have brought to you. The role of higher education institutions and climate impact research network, just like this one that we are experiencing today with this G20 international cabinet. I have just had design regenerative design here in Brazil. Institutions like the universities I belong, institutions and network research networks like we are also attached to, like REPAC, like GSFN, that Climate Reality Project, and so forth. And I came to a conclusion: if we see net zero in the center of the discussions, we achieving net zero emissions is not just a scientific and technological challenge, it is a profound socio-economic transformation that will require global cooperation and commitment. And by integrating socio-economic impact tracking into climate finance strategy, we can ensure that climate actions are both effective and equitable. The examples from Brazil, Europe, Asia, and Africa really demonstrate that the most strategies tailored to the regional context and collectively contribute to the global net zero goal. So there is a call to action to achieve net zero emissions. We must embrace a holistic approach that includes comprehensive impact assessments, robust policy frameworks, and transparent reporting mechanisms. And we call on all stakeholders, government, business, academia, and civil society to commit to ambitious climate targets, invest in sustainable technologies, and prioritize social equity in the climate actions. Together, we can create a resilient and sustainable future for all. So, thank you. Obrigado. Our projects are always open for a partnership in your sponsorship, and these are my contacts. This is a QR code that can bring you up to me at this moment. And I am, of course, sharing with you this presentation in full, and you can go to our chat. I have just put a link on the G Drive, and you can access, read, and download. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you very much for our invitation today. Thank you, Dr. Srividhya. Thank you, all my colleagues.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. That was a very wonderful presentation where we had really had insights from different parts of the globe, as you have covered globally, as such Asia and also China and Africa, and also the European constituency as well. That was a very quite comprehensive, and I would like to hear it from Mr. Balaji and then take it there. Mr. Balaji, please.
Good evening. Professor, as usual, it was just the best that the world can ever see. You have covered, as Dr. Srividhya said, the entire process which will take us to the magical net zero and the efforts that are required for us to reach to that stage. So you have, as ever, been very exhaustive in covering the key points, and today was no exception to the great manner in which you have delivered, Professor Dr. Estes. And as you said, since you hail from Brazil, we have a lot to learn from the initiatives taken from your country as well. So, India is also very much committed to achieving net zero, and then we have created 2070 as our target. So we believe that the entire world has to stand united, and you have put the right direction which is required for any entity. So if somebody were able to read the presentation, they would know how to reach their destination. Thank you very much, Doctor. Over to you, Dr. Srividhya.
Thank you. It's definitely a profound socio-economic transformation. That's what he really summed it up, and that's quite true. And to make it more effective and equitable, and with diverse strategies tailored to regional context that can collectively contribute to the global net zero goal. Thank you, Professor. It was definitely quite comprehensive, and we expect no less from you as such. Thank you. Over to Tanuja to welcome the next speaker. Thank you.
I welcome now Adhavan Karthik Kalaichindran. He is a student of Indus International School, Bangalore. and he's going to talk about the point number 1, investment in carbon market. Welcome, Adavan, and his goal is to become an entrepreneur. Best wishes for you. Please.
Thank you, Miss. First of all, before I
think
get
it's,
started,
I'm sorry, Adavan, please, there is a
Yes.
thing, and I'm sorry. I want to call you towards the end because your topic is going to sum up the whole session. Just hold
Yes,
on.
yes,
Ma'am,
sure.
can we please welcome Mr. Premnath? Thank you. Sorry, Adavan.
Yes. So our next speaker, Dr. Premnath from UAE, and he's going to address about a global effort to reach net zero. Please, sir.
Good evening to all.
Yeah,
So my name is Premnath Babu. So thanks for the wonderful opportunity, and this is my first experience talking to a session like this in a conference. So I'm very much thrilled about this, and I'll directly come to the session because I know that due to the time management we have away from the timings now, so that I also have the slides, but I'm not going to run the slides because it will also take another 30 minutes, and everybody has what I made already. They will discussed about that, so I don't want to do these things. But first I will introduce myself. I'm an environmental consultant, work from UAE. So I'm a member of TIP also. I met Ms. Srividhya also 6 months before the GPA meeting. At the time I got introduction to her, and after that I started following her. Thanks for the opportunity of giving me today. What I do over here. So we are talking about that net zero, so target towards the net zero. Are we doing that? Are we going there? Is there any behavioral change has been happened? We are saying that many things over here. So yeah, all professors are here. So we are giving in a good direction to the students how they have to go. But practically, yes, I am in the practical ground. I am with the organizations. I am in the market. So we are the consultants for the environment. So we do sustainability consultancy. We do the verifications. We do verification validations. So you see that if you take India itself, if you take India, North India, yes, there are many organizations are going towards that. But if you take South India, very few, because everything depends upon the cost economic. So they are not ready to invest into this. If there is a pressure is there from the customer, then only they think about that. Are they going towards thinking about all these things? Is there much? No, nobody is there. No single client is not coming forward towards the implementation. I want to contribute to the environment, so that I'll go for the example life cycle analysis of my product. How much carbon is emitted from my product? Nobody is going. When they will come for a meeting, so when we discuss about it, so the software when we have for that, and when we explain to them this is the cost will happen, means yes sir, we'll come. After 1 year they will not come back to us. It is happening not only now, it's happening last 3 to 4 years. In North India, you see that yes, who are completing environmental engineering also. Are they looking in South India? It's very less. They are going towards other countries or in North Indian projects. Because as Ms. Roshan was saying that there was carbon investments are going on. Yes, there are some carbon investments going in Madhya Pradesh as well as in Jharkhand about the biogas, other agriculture, sustainable agriculture and all, afforestation, reforestation and all. Some project is happening over there. Very little amount. It's not a big amount also. It's going over there. But in other areas, we see that if it is happening, means no, it has to be, because the people awareness is very less about these things. Ms. Lakshmi Madam was saying that before 15 years or 10 years, did the climate in the Chennai, it was 30 degree. Now it's reached up with a 47 degree. Whereas in Chennai also, we see that it becoming concrete jungle now. There is no greenery. The more urbanization, so people are moving towards the cities. So where there is the space for the greeneries, we are losing that. So the behavioral change has to be start. So I don't want to take much time, so I'll just show my organization. So I hope that you're able to see my screen. So this is my.
I think it's loading.
How about now? Still loading?
It's still loading. Still loading, sir? Yeah, it's still loading. Yeah, it is opening, but
Sorry for this. But I'm able to see the screen in the.
it's loaded now.
Okay. Okay, there is a company called Chilton TMC Consultants. We operate from Dubai. So we have many verticals in our services. So we do EHG reporting. So we do EPD, LCA. So we have many projects in the ISOs and net zero. So if you see the EHG reporting, so GRI based, SASB based, EcoVadis, we are one of the approved consultant and trainer in the EcoVadis platform. So there is a EHG requirement is there. So we are the EcoVadis approved training and partners. So when the organizations are moving more towards the net zero, so they have to implement some basic requirements. So one of the easiest thing we can say that is EcoVadis. So there are some set of questions as there, the three pillars: environmental, sustainable procurement, as well as HR requirements, human rights, as well as the ethics. Those things which is covered in EcoVadis. So for the basic, they can start with that. So to achieve the net zero. So as well as we have a software for the carbon management calculations, carbon footprint calculations. So other things, how to reach that. So any organization, when they are implementing carbon footprints or going for net zero, so they have to implement the standard like ISO 14064 is there. So ISO 14064 is the organization level. ISO 14064 is the organization level. So ISO 140642, so WA is there. ISO 14064 is there for the projects. So in the projects we see that we are talking about the GC, Global Carbon Councils. We talk about the gold. We talk about the VIRA for the carbon credits. They used to implement that. So GHG protocol itself is that. So what they do that, they have a scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. And to achieve the SBTi, if you see that UAE itself, how many companies are there? Only hardly some 22 companies are registered with the SBTi. So when they go for the standards, because generally we are talking that we have to achieve, we have to go. But what is the way to achieve that? So we have to follow the standards. We have to implement the standards in our organizations. Once we implement these standards in the organizations, and they can achieve easily their targets to achieve at net zero 2050. Because the way we are living the life at present, so we have to reduce 1.5 degrees centigrade. But if we are not taking any actions, it will reach up to 3 degrees centigrade. That was the actual thing. So this is another company which is operated from Chennai as well as in Dubai. We are assessed. So we do the GHG verifications as well as the EHG services. So we do EPLC also from the Chennai office. So even if any students, when they want to know about anything about the EPDs, LCAs, as well as about the verification practices, so they can contact us. So we help the organization to achieve the net zero. So I'm not going to take more time. So thanks for the opportunity. When we give opportunity for next time, so I can come out with a more explanation report regarding this. Thank you.
Thank you, Premnath. That was a very quintessential presentation, I would say. Like, thanks for the deliberate mention there, that talking about ISO 140641 and IISO 140642, which is a key component, key takeaways for not only for our people who have joined us on this session, but also for the audience who have just seen. And more and more people will get in touch with you for implementing this, as it is a Silk Route. I think towards conclusion, I will be briefing on why did we even call this net zero as a Silk Route. So allow me to bring the connectivity later on, because there are about 4 speakers down the lane. So we have another max another half an hour to go. So thank you so much, Mr. Premnath. Thanks. It was wonderful having you here. Over to Tanuja ma'am to welcome the next speaker on board. Thank you. Mr. Balaji, please excuse me on that.
Yes. So I welcome Dr. Paul Sharada from Medicaps University Indore, Associate Professor, to address on pointer number 6, greenwashing to net zero. Please, ma'am.
Madam Parul, are you ready, ma'am?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, Dr. Parul Sharda. Am I getting your name right, ma'am? Yes, Madam is an Associate Professor of Medicaps. Yeah, Madam is Associate Professor of Medicaps University Indore. MP State President Financial Literacy and Management Council, WICCI, MP State Convener and Research Foundation of India. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thanks for your patience, and over to you, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As I
you will be able to share your screen. Yeah.
Yes. Give me a minute, please.
Sure. And we are ahead of time, so we want the speakers to cut down.
Yes,
Keep it very short. Yeah, please. Thank you.
Yes,
It's
sure.
loading. It's loading. We are able to see it actually. We are going to view the screen. Yes, it has loaded. From greenwashing to net zero, a roadmap to authentic stability. Thank you, ma'am. Sustainability.
Yes. So, please confirm if it is in the presentation mode.
I think it's going to, it's going to load on the presentation mode now.
Okay, till then, let me start from here only.
Yeah. Good to go, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yes. So from greenwashing, net zero, or roadmap to authentic sustainability, as we all know that India is also trying its best to reach to the net zero targets, which is to be achieved by 2070. And if we talk about the key highlights from National Development Council, India has committed to reduce emissions intensity of its GDP by 45% by 2030, and the updated National Development Council marks an important step here in India towards achieving India's long-term goal of reaching net zero by 2070. And under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, a new framework for transition to cleaner energy for the period has already been started from 2021 and will be completing by 2030. So India is taking so many steps in achieving the greenwashing, in achieving this net zero. And when we talk about the greenwashing specifically and how addressing the greenwashing can reach up to the authentic sustainability, greenwashing means involves making an unsubstantial claim to deceive consumers into believing that companies' products are environmentally friendly, but actually they are not. So greenwashing is the activity to mislead the customers through deceptive marketing tactics and using the vague language. Means the consumers feel that the products are organic, but actually they are not. So selective disclosure, omitting key environmental impacts, they are not disclosing the key factors or disclosing the key elements which are there in the product, and thereby they are misleading the consumers. And unsubstantiated assertions, they are claiming the products as eco-friendly without the proof, and this makes the products come into the zone of greenwashing. So now when I talk about the rise of net zero, which is a science-based target, net zero emissions to be achieved by 2050, and in India we have set a target of 2070. Here we need to address the role of IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, having 195 countries. It guides global climate agreement. The IPCC was created to provide policymakers with regular scientific assessments on climate change, its implications and potential future risk, as well as to put forward adaptations and mitigation options. They have specifically concentrated on scope 1, 2 and 3. The scope 1, 2 and 3 of IPCC, which accounts for carbon footprints. Here it is important to know that what is scope 1. So scope 1 covers emissions from sources that an organization owns or controls directly, for example, from burning fuel in our fleet of vehicles. Now talking about scope 2 emissions, scope 2 emissions are emissions that a company causes indirectly and come from where the energy is purchases and uses its produce. The scope 3 is the scope 3 emission comes into a category wherein it encompasses emissions that are not produced by the company itself and not the result of activities from assets controlled by them, but by those it's indirectly responsible for up and down and its value chain. So the rise of net zero, wherein we are targeting to bring it to the net zero, scope 1 and 2 and 3 needs to be addressed properly so that we can bring the carbon emissions to net zero. The role of SBTI, that is Science-Based Target Initiatives, it verifies the framework, lead the way to net zero economy, boost innovation and drive sustainable growth by setting ambitions, science-based emissions reduction targets. Now, beyond offsetting, prioritizing the emission reductions, we can do it by renewable energy options. We need to invest more into solar and wind power, and we need to go more in energy efficient by reducing the energy consumptions more and more in whatever is there in our control. We need to do it, and by circular economy, by following the path of circular economy, by minimizing the waste. Supply chain scrutiny, addressing scope 3 emissions, we can measure indirect emissions, we can engage the suppliers, life cycle assessments can be done, and we can collaborate more and more with all the stakeholders to bring the carbon emissions to the net zero. Transparent reporting, building trust and accountability. We need to disclose the data, use a standardized framework so that we can address the greenwashing and we can go to the sustainable future. We need to promise the sustainable tomorrow. Next is independent verification. It ensures the sustainability claims and accessible information, provides clear data to all the stakeholders, especially the consumers, because consumers are the end users of products who are being misled by using the greenwashing tactics. So we need to keep a check on these kind of things. Next is internal transformation and embedding sustainability into corporate culture. We need to integrate considerations, empower the employees and set targets so that we can achieve the sustainable targets and bring the carbon emissions to net zero within our time frame. The role of technology innovation for a sustainable future, again, going for the clean technologies, we can use the data analytics and smart solutions. We need to invest in clean technologies, like the example we can take here is the Tesla, which has advances electrical vehicle adoption. So we can, go into the, we can bring down the carbon emissions to zero, and by following more and more technology friendly things, we can control the carbon emissions. Regulatory landscape, increased scrutiny from regulatory bodies and carbon pricing mechanism should be in place. And by mandatory reporting we can bring down the we can keep a track on greenwashing activities, and we can keep a check on the organizations which are faking themselves, and we can bring down we can frame some policies to take some actions against the organizations which are following the greenwashing activities. So in conclusion, embracing authentic sustainability for long-term value, 66%, there is a survey in which it has been marked that 66% of consumers prefer sustainable brands. So move beyond greenwashing for longer-term value, because net zero is a continuous journey. And in the end, I want to quote the United Nations Secretary General's Antonio Guterres: making peace with nature is the defining task of 21st century. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Param ma'am. That was a wonderful presentation indeed. Mr. Balaji, I would take it up from here, if it's okay. So transitioning from greenwashing to achieving net zero emissions requires genuine commitment, as you mentioned, to sustainability and transparency. And as you rightly mentioned about greenwashing red flags, that is, lack of transparency is a key thing that we need to address on. And the vagueness without clarity, like people are talking about eco-friendly, people are talking about sustainability, without having specific data and targets and the metrics which are involved in it, this has to be handled. And also the misleading labels that comes as, like rigorous, without setting rigorous sustainability standards, that has to be taken into consideration. With net zero transition, as you rightly mentioned, set science-based targets, conduct comprehensive emission assessments, develop decarbonization roadmap very clearly, and invest in renewable energy and energy efficiency, with electrified transportation and industry which is involved in it, and whichever industry that we're talking about, please focus on the carbon capture and the storage from the industrial sources, with the sustainable land use and the forestry, not to miss in the mention, with afforestation efforts, and also with the regular progress and reporting, with independent verification, and also the stakeholder commitment and engagement will definitely lead us to the greenwashing techniques that ma'am has been mentioning. Ma'am has taken into reference the science-based targets initiative, that is SBTs, and CDP carbon disclosure projects that she has taken into examples, and GRA global reporting initiatives. GRA framework also ma'am has taken into consideration. With all this, definitely the global effort to reach net zero emission is going to be crucial to mitigate the climate change. Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. That was a very comprehensive. Due to lack of time, I'm not inviting the other moderator to take it up, and because we have got another 2 more speakers to go, 3 more rather, if I'm right. So moving ahead, can you so much. Invite Shruti? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful presentation indeed, Dr. Parul. Really, it was a mind-blowing presentation. Thank you. Please take care of your health also. Thank you. Tamidam, we would like to invite Madam Shruti Kulkarni. Ma'am had joined actually sometime before. Dr. Shruti Kulkarni, ma'am, if you are ready.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm ready.
Yes.
Sorry, so I invite Dr. Shruti Kulkarni, and she serves as a Maharashtra Academic Head at IAU, as Assistant Professor at CCS College, IBMR, and she runs Calgon Music Academy Global Council by SPP India. Please, madam, to share your insights on greenwashing to net zero.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Srividhya ma'am, for inviting me on this wonderful today's International One Planet Cabinet G20 conference. So today actually I'm taking not that much of a time, but just have to share my thoughts with you all. So there are the many dignitaries who have already covered the many points over here. So I really don't want to repeat again on that, because there are according to you the very less time over there. But yes, before start my this presentation and all, I just would like to gratitude towards IIU founder and everyone for giving me this wonderful opportunity, and you also, ma'am. So let's start my some points of in my presentation. So greenwashing net zero is the topic which is selected by me. So that all of us we discussed since yet what exactly the greenwashing and what are the now. I just wanted to tell you that what exactly the global warming is one of the biggest issue in front of all. So to we can what exactly the precautions measures we have to take to avoid this. So each and every country, each and everyone should represent or take a precautionary efforts for this, and everyone is taking. So in this today's topic is greenwashing to net zero. Is there are some guidelines and policies also taking care by implementation in our Indian government also, which is CCPA, that is the Central Consumer Protection Authorities. They also provide some guidelines to avoid this. So what exactly is this? So we are going to see. Okay. So what is wrong with the greenwashing? Nowadays we can see everyone is try to make themselves as whatever the product they do have the companies and publishing as in the link. And this is natural. So to avoid this also, and we should being the citizen, knowledgeable citizen of each and every country, we have to take some precautions, three measures we can see to avoid this kind of a scam, and we also save to ourselves also. So now these are some issues which is already many more are covered by another speakers. So I really don't want to highlight of those again and again. So what exactly we can do? So we can avoid this greenwashing in 2 ways. First is stick to the main principles of greenwashing, and another one is to be aware of the 7 sins of the greenwashing. So what which are those sins? 7 sins. So now we can cover the 7 sins. First, so we have to sin of the hidden trade-off. Second one is we have to sin of no proof. Third one is sin of the vagueness, and fourth one is the sin of the worshipping false labels. And next is the sin of irrelevance. And sixth one is the sin of the lesser of 2 evils, and 7th last one is the sin of the fibbing. Means in short, what exactly these I covered in the each and every slide, but it's things take more time. So just in short, just wanted to take care of to avoid this kind of scam or just you can say a false commitment from the organization. So we should take care of whenever we are going to buy a product, we can first what we are going to see on each and every product, we can see that is the best before tagline, which is already mentioned each and every product over there. So here also, whenever we are going to buy any product, so we should take care of whatever the label they are mentioning, because there are the many organizations who can they just put this greenery marks on the label on their product, but this is not that much of the work, because inside of that product they may use or they already use kind of chemicals and which is non-worthy for all of us. So, we need to avoid this kind of things. So we need to take care of what kind of a precaution we are going to take. We are going to tell our friends or our community or the people who are around us to make sure them, and also we can create the awareness to run the campaigning and also run this kind of today's our conference is the very good example of this. Okay, so we can just arrange more and more awareness or arranging this kind of conferences, so we can create and also we can increase the awareness regarding this all, and let's make a healthy environment, and we can avoid some kind of whatever the issues in front of us globally we are facing. So I really thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts over here. And one more time, this is a really thanks a lot for all of our dignitaries for today's this conference of our international One Planet Cabin.
Thank you, Shruti Kulkarni, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thanks for making it. And
Namaste. Thank you so much.
Balaji, sir. Mr. Balaji, are you there? Well, the key takeaways from Shruti Kulkarni, ma'am, is that she has mentioned about the sins of greenwashing. That's the highlight, I think. The sin of the hidden trade-off, and the sin of no proof, the sin of vagueness, the sin of worshipping the false labels, and the sins of irrelevance, and the sins of lesser the two evils, and the sins of fibbing. That's really fabulous, ma'am. That's quite innovative indeed, and definitely that's a key takeaway from you, I think. And towards the session, before we conclude, I've got a few more points to add, but we've got 2 more speakers to go, so I would like to cut it down. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And can we invite the next speaker, Madam Ramya?
Yeah, next speaker, Ms. Ramya. I welcome you, Assistant Professor, Eastwood College of Engineering, to address on the pointer. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Is my screen is visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible, and we are able to see the screen. You are quite audible, and you can go to slideshow mode if you want to, presentation mode.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Please go.
So, good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. Introducing to the net zero, we are here to talk about the balancing amount of greenhouse gases we emit with the amount we remove from the atmosphere. This is crucial if we want to limit the global warming with 1.5 degrees centigrade. To achieve this, we need to cut the emission as such as possible, and we use the technologies to remove the rest. But how we can make sure this commitment's real and just empty promise that standard comes in. The standards are, without proper standards, companies might claim to be net zero without actually making the real challenge. This is called as greenwashing. Standards helps the setting to clear guidelines, ensuring transparency and holding organization accountable, and this helps the business to align their pledge with science instead of just making a vague promise. To align with the agreement, the Paris Agreement is a global effort to keep temperature rise below 1.5 degrees centigrade. Any net zero pledge should align with this goal. It is important to have a
consideration that UN Sustainable Development Goals to ensure the holistic approach to the sustainability. The key points of net zero standards are, there are 4 key elements that we have to consider for net zero standards. So here we go for the 4 key elements, that is emission measurement. How we are going to measure our emission is that the science of organization must measure their emission accurately. Reducing the pathway, they must set the science based on reduction targets. Integrity offset is a high quality and verifiable. And the next 4 point is transparency is a main key with independent verifications. The emission measurement is a direct emission from company owned sources, indirect emissions from purchased electricity, and indirect emission from entire supply chain. These are organization needs to be considered these 3 categories. Without accurate measurement, it is important to track the progress. Emission reduce pathway. The most important thing is to reduce your emission first before relying on offset. So directly industry will have a different approach, but also should have a short-term and long-term targets. Now next we are going to see about the offset of carbons and integrity, which is going to be an additional and permanent and integrity. Companies should avoid over-reliance on offsets. They must reduce their emission first. Example of offset is including planting forest and carbon capture technology. The next is transparent reporting frameworks must use the standardized reporting methods like GHG protocol. Independent verification is crucial. Companies should publish a regular to track their progress. The milestones that the many countries has been set is, for an example, India has been set as a net zero by 2030. And may have a progress report should be published annually. Companies should avoid last minute reduction that may be ineffective. The strategic of sector is energy, moving towards your renewable sources, transport, electrification and efficiency improvements that we are going to have electric vehicles that may be much efficient for having our net zero here. Manufacturing is using sustainable materials and process. Each sector needs tailored approach. The next is we are going to have government's accountability. The government play a big role by setting regulations and enforcing compliance. Companies must integrate sustainable into their corporate and strategies. Public scrutiny can also push organizations to take real actions. Then greenwashing is when company makes misleading claims. To prevent this, we need an independent audit, transparent report, strict verification process. There is a challenge for implementing our net zero commitments. We have a high cost of emission, reducing the reduction projects. Technology limitations in certain industries. They need global corporations to make a real impact. But despite these challenges, we must move forward. So in this, we are going to see a case study about Microsoft net zero strategy. As an example, they have committed to be carbon negative by 2030 and are investing in carbon removable projects. The key takeaway from the Microsoft is science-based strategies and investments in technologies and full transparencies. The policies of governments and leads by the way, establishing the regulations, emissions limits, and providing financial incentives for cleaning energy solutions. Encouraging the researchers and developers to do the net zero is an policy for our government. To rule of a business to sustain in their operations, they should adopt a crucial economic practice and work with the supply chain to reduce the emissions. So we have a future in net zero standard is carbon capture and storage, new regulatory framework for transparency, nature-based solutions like afforestations, and these development will shape the next phase of sustainability efforts. The call of action here is it's time to act now. Government, business, and individuals all have a role to play. We need science-based strategies on transparencies and immediate actions. So the net zero will ensure a meaningful climate action and sustainable futures. So see, here we are. I'm thanking you all for this opportunity and your time for your attention. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Ramya ma'am. Thanks for your patience indeed. The first thing is we need to thank you for your patience and really you have covered almost all the points and for me nothing to add on and to summarize definitely you have in a sense like it is in a nutshell that you have given it very clearly about GHGP, that is Greenhouse Gas Protocol, and Science-Based Targets Initiative, that is SBTI, and also taking a very good example from Microsoft, and Global Reporting Initiatives, that's GRIs, and which will definitely going in further, that is GRI Standards and GRI 207, which is the taxonomy disclosure, which offers the guidance when it comes to the Microsoft disclosure that they have talked about. And also, not missing on the mention, the task force on climate-related financial disclosures, that is TCFD, very clearly taken it there with TCFD recommendations, providing on the guidance of the climate-related financial disclosures, moving to the governance and strategy and risk management, the metrics which are involved in the process. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a brilliant presentation. And definitely, there is more to contribute always. We will take it up towards the conclusion if at all the time permits. Thank you, Ramya ma'am. Thanks for being there. Thank you. Dr. Vasanthi William. Dr. Vasanthi, would you like to add on there something?
Yes, just 2 lines. Ms. Ramya, the point you made on the need for standards to be identified and implemented is a very important point. And actually, without strict guidelines, policies, and then there should be some penalty. Otherwise, it will continue to be challenging to set right and achieve the goals. So, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. So now we conclude the session with the youngest speaker of the day, but who was very prompt in logging in and joining our meeting on time. The first one to join, I think. Adavan, I'm sorry, with due apologies.
Yes, Mr. Maurice.
Over to you. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, and the floor is all yours.
Okay.
I believe that you were going to rock.
Yeah, first of all, before
How do you
starting,
feel being here today? That's what I want to know.
okay, amazing and a bit of nervous because it's my first time. But I want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak here. And I'll just share my screen of my presentation.
By the way, we have developed an hour for you. Why? Because the reason is that the other people, you have seen the other speakers who have joined on this diaspora. They were all professors. They are in their own field, they're experts. And with them, you're going to present about the investment in the carbon markets, which I'm very keen to know from you, rather. That's why I wanted you to conclude the session only with you. That's why I gave this, I just was holding on to you. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Please go ahead.
Okay,
By the way,
so today
Adavan is a grade 11 student. It's a grade 11 student. And he wanted to talk about investments. So our platform always has a motive that students are not going to be job seekers, they're going to be job givers. So he's here, the future entrepreneur here. So let's hear from him. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Miss. Okay, so today I'll be talking about investment in carbon markets, so carbon mutual funds, ETFs, green companies, and carbon credit futures. So the first one is like an overview of what I'll be doing in the presentation today. So the investment landscape is shifting as climate changes become an increasingly pressing global issue. Investors are increasingly recognizing the value of integrating environmental, social, and governance factors into investment choices. This has driven by growing concerns about the environmental impact of business operations, as well as changing investors' attitudes and behaviors, whereby individuals seek to align their investments with their values and worldwide view. Investors are becoming more and more keen in search of ways to include ESG issues in investment portfolios. This means taking into consideration such matters as a company's carbon footprint, energy efficiency, treatment of employees, contribution to the community, and corporate governance practices. Incorporating these ESG factors, investors want to invest in companies that does not only make a good business sense from a financial perspective, but also aligns with their vision for sustainability. So the next slide is about carbon mutual funds and ETFs. So carbon mutual funds and ETFs are mutual funds and exchange traded funds that invest in those companies that are directly engaged in reducing their carbon footprint or are involved in renewable energy. These niche funds allow investors to make investments that align towards a low carbon economy. By investing in companies at the forefront of sustainability and clean energy, investors have a potential to gain from the company's bottom line as the world's need for green products and services continue to grow. So these investment products offer diversified means of sustainability investing. They typically have a portfolio of companies across various industries that are actively engaged in dealing with climate changes and environmental challenges. Their exposure to climate risks while also enabling the transition towards a more sustainable future through their investment. And there's few notable key features of these. So the most significant advantage of these investment vehicles is diversification. In investing in a portfolio of companies that specialize in carbon reduction and renewable energy, investors are subject to a variety of different companies, which disperses and minimizes their risks. This diversification allows investors to be a part of the transition to a low carbon economy without relying too heavily on the success of any single company. Additionally, carbon mutual funds and ETFs are professionally managed by financial experts who make investment decisions based on rigorous sustainability criteria. These managers utilize their skills and research to identify companies that are leaders in reducing emissions and employing renewable energy. Practices and professional management provides investors with an access to a high level of expertise and oversight that may be difficult for an individual investor to gain independently. And finally, with the existence of carbon mutual funds or ETFs and ETFs, it is a big plus that these investment tools are available for individuals, and hence any individual can invest in them sustainably and be a part of the shift of an environmental economy. Democratization of sustainable investing makes it possible for more individuals to align their investment portfolios with their values and become a part of the world's movement towards sustainability. And the next slide is about benefits for carbon mutual funds and ETFs. So one of the benefits are environmental impact. Investing in these funds usually supports a business that is seriously working towards lowering their carbon footprint and making the world a healthier place. By investing in these companies that are actively lowering their greenhouse gases and emissions and becoming more sustainable in their operations, investors can help in supporting the global quest to avoid climate change and promote environmental well-being. Next up being financial returns. It also has been researched that investments which are made in a sustainable way, such as those invested in carbon mutual funds and exchange traded funds, can perform just as well or even better than traditional investments in the long term. This is a sign that an investor can provide competitive financial results while simultaneously realizing that environmental and social objectives. And finally, risk management. So these specialist funds are likely to focus on such companies that are best positioned to deal with climate rules and risks. Investing in such companies that are proactively addressing environmental concerns and transitioning to a low carbon world can enable investors to lower their exposure to climate change and related investment risks which may rise in the future. So green companies. So basically, green companies are companies that prioritize more towards sustainability and environmental stewardship while focusing on being profitable and competitive at the same time. And there are many characteristics for green businesses, and one of the notable characteristics for green businesses is using renewable energy of technologies rather than using fossil fuels such as these These businesses use solar, wind, hydroelectric, or other forms of renewable energy technologies to power their operations. Through this switch from non-renewable energy, they reduce greenhouse gases emissions and encourage transition towards a low-carbon economy. Another notable characteristics of green businesses is that they focus on minimizing waste and recycling. Programs, they implement practices for minimizing waste generation across their supply chains and production processes. This includes practices like maximizing resource utilization, designing products, disassembly and reuse, and promoting recycling and proper disposal of waste among employees and customers. And finally, green companies are also famous for their sustainable sourcing. Such as companies are committed to sourcing raw materials, components, and services in a responsible and environmental manner. It could involve selecting suppliers that boost high sustainability profiles and focusing on local and renewable resources, and tracking their sources to ensure ethical and environmental sustainability of their supply chain. By implementing these practices, green businesses can demonstrate that they care about reducing their impact on the planet and assisting in making a more sustainable planet. Not only is this beneficial to the planet, but it can enhance their company's reputation, customer loyalty, and business sustainability in the long run. And the next slide has some benefits of investing in green companies and some examples. So, first one is the positive impact. Investing in green companies is a fostering innovation and endeavors leading to a greener future. Green companies are dedicated to the innovation and adaptation of environmentally friendly technologies, products, and processes that have a favorable impact on the environment. Second up is market growth. There is an increase in demand for green products and services, indicating tremendous potential for growth in the industry. With expanding green consciousness among customers, the market is more suitable for products and services as it's expanding at a very rapid rate. And finally, it's regulatory support. Governments across the globe are progressively implementing policies and regulations that favor green practices. This regulatory support enhances the viability and competitiveness of green companies, rendering them good investment prospects. And these are some of the examples of green companies. Like, I think most of them are familiar with many companies, like the four companies here: Starbucks, Apple, Honda, or IKEA. So Apple has launched several wind and solar farms with these greenhouses powering energy to use that consumption in their retail stores and corporate offices. And with that, my presentation is done. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Adavan. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss.
Before I take it up,
yeah.
that if anybody would like to speak for Mr. Adavan, maybe Dr. Vasanthi, ma'am.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's so nice to see such a young boy coming up with talking of and thinking of such issues where it is their world now, and it's very good to see that. And I hope you keep motivating your friends as well, and put them on. Yes. I hope. Are you there, Adavan?
Yes, Miss. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish you all the very best. I understand you want to become an entrepreneur. My best wishes to you, and I'm sure you'll come up with something new and different. Not the run-of-the-mill kind of entrepreneur. Project.
Yes.
All the very best to you. Very best to you.
Thank you.
Anuja ma'am, would you like to add on there? Anuja ma'am?
Yeah. So actually, very nice presentation. You have covered everything, and very best wishes, because you want to become an entrepreneur and you have a very wide vision on the current challenges, what we are going to. It's a crisis, I can say, and you have a very good solution. I wish you to come, and also you have to bring many more young minds on this forum. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Thank you.
Premnath, since I see you here on the screen, I thought I will take a word from you. Premnath Babuji.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
For Mr. Adhavan.
Yeah, really wonderful the chance where we are in the when I was thinking like that only when I was in child, if any opportunity I'm getting like this, I never come out such a brave things and all. Really appreciate you. I congratulate for your future and is whether the right thing which you choose as an entrepreneur. That is, I really welcome you for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So Adhavan, it is
Yes.
like the smallest in size, in age, but greatest in spirits. That's what we say. Because small was earlier, there was Roshni, who was a little elder to you, but still she did her best, definitely. And you had done a wonderful job. And first of all, on this coming and sharing your insights on this flow, it's really amazing, and you have done a wonderful job. Well, the key takeaways, like you had just bring it down to the ground level, addressing the climatic finance and the technology part of it, that is the climatic finance mobilization, is a key thing to support the net zero transition, including the green bonds, climatic funds, and the impact investing. And when it comes to the clean technology innovation, that to foster the clean technology innovation, we should do a lot of research and development with demonstration, putting into action, execution with the deployment of the net zero technologies, taking examples from all over the globe. Thank you so much. Thanks for a beautiful mention there. And when it comes to the technology transfer, to facilitate the technology transfer to support the adoption of the net zero technologies, we need to always follow to the developing countries where you have taken as a example, that is to be really taken into account with key consideration for the climatic justice and the equity which is involved in the process, ensuring that the net zero transition are just, equitable, adaptable for that particular local community, whichever part of the world they belong to, recognizing the disproportionate impacts of that climatic change and the vulnerable situations of the population of that particular country or the locality that we are talking about. Very key mention is that, because when we talk about sustainability, we cannot bring the change as such, copying from one place to another. Definitely it's not possible. It should not jeopardize the present situation of the local community. Very key mention there, with always working in collaboration, but definitely taking in all the best practices involved with the key collaboration modem, which is the model that we are talking about, addressing the climatic equity by providing support on mutual conferences, sharing best practices to the developing countries, promoting climatic resilience. That is what is a thing. So when we implement something, it's not going to be right at the first go. So we need to have the resilience to just come back, go back to it, work on the restorations and all the remedials that are involved in the process, and then only we can bring the net zero transitions. It will have a global effort to reach the net zero, which requires the cooperation and the commitment of all the people who are involved in it. Thank you. Thank you so much. These are the key takeaways that we are taking from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now coming back to the main topic of relating it to the Silk Route. Yes, I'm going to conclude the session. That's why I'm going back to the topic, the heading of today. Now, why did we even call it as the net zero as a Silk Route to success? Because this Silk Route is a process, is a network of the ancient trade routes. That is, in previous years, prehistory years, the pathway that led to the collaboration, that road map was called as a Silk Route. Probably all geography teachers, or the history teachers, or the humanity teachers will know about it. So we thought that this net zero, when we talk about the road to net zero, it should be definitely called as a Silk Route, because it will play a significant role in shaping the global commerce, cultural exchange, and the economic development. So when it comes to the trade and commerce, the Silk Route has facilitated the exchange of goods and also the practices of their local communities in consideration with the global scenario, and such that the market explosion has expanded the markets and creating new opportunities for the merchants and the traders to collaborate and to function further, adopting the best practices involved, such that what was the influence? It influenced the economic growth such that it contributed to the global economy and also leading to the development of the underprivileged and the developing countries as such. To name a few, we can take Samarkand or Bukhara, anything that has. Not only that, it also led to the cultural importance. When we talk about net zero is not only going to influence the sustainability factor, it's not only going to influence only the GDP factor, but also it will have a good cultural exchange such that it will facilitate the exchange of ideas, cultures and technologies which are being involved in that. And as such, it will have a huge pathway or a roadmap to success, including the history, connecting between the history and the future. So it's going to be a bridge between the cultural exchange and with the emphasis on the exploration and the discovery or the modern, with regard to the modern relevance which is being involved in it, with, as we call it, as a road and the belt initiative, that is BRI. So connecting it to the BRI, to the net zero point of it, with the regional cooperation and the cultural heritage, that is why we call this as the Silk Route to success. So hope everybody will agree with me on that particular point. And if there is anybody who would like to add on more, just 1 second I can give you, please. We are too much ahead of time. Please allow me to share my screen because we have to inform people who have joined us on this platform about our plans for the forthcoming weeks as such. So next week we are talking about biodiversity, a strong natural defense against the climatic change, the World Heritage No-Go commitment. The following week we are talking about loss and damage, a moral imperative to act, which will be followed by digitalization and innovation, that is NPR, that is National Production Revolution. Following which will be moving on to the business point of view, that is entrepreneurship and MSMEs. Talking about the following week, we'll have global financial architecture and international growth, and with international taxation into account. And then we'll celebrate success as a World Heritage of Culture and Human Tourism, not missing in the mention of One Health quadruped, that is health, wealth and agricultural food security, which will sum it up to the confinement with Education 360. I am empowered to lead that one planet with the Shakti Spectrum and You Are Go Global. And last but not the least, we'll have Engage, Explore, Enhance Our Planet with the Earth for a Sustainable Living, which will contribute to Addis Ababa AAAA action. Thank you so much. So there we are, and I'm going to stop this screen. Thank you. So thanks for all the beautiful contributions, and I'm just speechless for the immense insights that has come in so far, and really I have no words. Anybody would like to add on? Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for the platform, and you are a wonderful host, I should say. Also very motivating. I also found Mr. Balaji similarly motivating all the speakers. I thank you so much, and I feel so happy that I've been given an opportunity to be part of this wonderful event. A lot of takeaways for me as well. So thank you once again, and I would be happy if I just request if you can share those details which you mentioned, so that we can share it with our groups, or maybe even if we are able to present a paper or an article, we can do that.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Thank you.
We'd love to have you for the forthcoming sessions as well, and thank you so
Definitely.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you.
So now it's time to thank everybody. Anybody, Tanuja ma'am or Professor Adil Ahmed is there, Sandhya ma'am is there. Sandhya ma'am, would you like to add on there? You need to wind up, please. That's why. Shruti ma'am? Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. That was so interesting, and we had a lot of takeaways. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. It was so informative too. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. You're always welcome. Thank you. Yes, Shruti ma'am, please.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. This is really, very innovative, and for our next generation or the young generation, this is really inspiration. And we will try to add one, more and more with the students also. We can share this all. Please share this all with me, so we can, just share with the students and give this wonderful platform. Because at our time, I think there is nothing like this, right? So nowadays, this young generation is very lucky, and they are getting this kind of a wonderful opportunity, And really, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for providing this wonderful platform for all of us.
Yes,
Always welcome.
It was really a great mentor and great motivator also. Thank you so much. I'm really glad to meet you today.
Thank you. Thank you. Always welcome. Yes, Tanujama, please. Thank you.
Yes, I think this is a very great pathway to sustainable futures and to youngsters way we had. So I hope they take the way and they will give a very great solution for a sustainable future.
Yes, at this session, yes, please. Somebody was, yes. Thank you. So allow me to conclude the session here. Thank you. Yeah, so we had a wonderful start that with due respects to His Excellency Manu Thangaraj sir, who is the former minister who had joined us on this platform. That was a wonderful start with his blessings, and also Professor Adil Ahmed as a keynote speaker. His deliverance was really mind-blowing and out of the world, is definitely, and every single speaker was so crisp and so. It was just full of inferences and full of insights. We were not able to cut down, though we were requesting every single time to ask them to just cut it down. But still, the inputs were more and more and more, and there were no repetitions, and each one was so exclusive in their own accord. So that was really thank you. On that note, please allow me to conclude the session by thanking our community partners. GSFN Global Sustainable Futures, IIU International Internship University, IGEN, the Institution of Green Engineers, Good Vision Seva Trust, and Amity University Dubai, SRM Group with Easwari Engineering College and SRM Engineering College from Tiruchirappalli, and Sairam Group of Institutions thereby, and Dr. MGR Education Research Institute with Sri Ishwar College of Engineering, St. Xavier's College of Engineering, Easwari Engineering College, JNN Institute of Engineering, and GRACIAS Foundation, Global Foundation for Peace, and Universal Human Values, and Green Brigade. Really, without the support, this would not have been possible. Thanks for all the brilliant support, Dr. Renuka Thakur, Dr. Ramesh, and Dr. Sukumar sir from SRM Group, and Dr. Rubin from Sairam Engineering College, and every single one of you have really supported us to a great deal. Dr. Vinod Shukla from Amity University, it's really, and Dr. Piyush Pandit from IIU, and definitely we're missing Dr. Virginia today, and definitely she'll be there for the next session. And I'm very bountifully duly, I really want to thank Mr. Balaji, because his wife is not well. She's in the hospital. You won't believe Mr. Balaji is locked in from the hospital today. So he was not on his camera. The camera was not on, but still his wife is unwell. But still he said that, ma'am, I will be present there. I will help you. I will moderate the session, because he gave me a commitment last week. Hats off to you, Mr. Balaji, and we all pray that Ms. Sandhya Balaji should get well soon, and very soon she will be joining us in our session. Thank you so much. On that note, our biggest boss, because without that boss, nothing can happen. That is none other than Niranjan and Kapilan, thank you so much. My backstage heroes there. Without their support, nothing is going to happen. I know that very well. And they have been very meticulous and very systematically thorough, professional in handling the things, and all those brilliant speakers. I really don't want to miss anybody that mentioned. Dr. Lakshmi, who was addressing on resilience to the disruption caused by the climatic change. Though we were not joined by Lail Gadar and Mr. Mohammad Zubair, Mona Saban, who was talking about resilience to disruption caused by climatic change, Dr. Sandhya, who was targeting on decarbonization targets as such, and Dr. Vishnupada Bose, who was again talking about right decarbonization targets, with Adavan there, who was the limelight today with the investments in carbon markets. Professor Adil Ahmed, who was a keynote speaker, who opened the session with a brilliant deliverance there with the investment in carbon markets once again. And Roshni Mohan, who just brought Roshni to us, the light to us with the investment in carbon markets. And Dr. Parul Shadama, she was also not well, and yet ma'am made it a point to come and drop her inputs on greenwashing to net zero. And Dr. Shruti Kulkarni, again highlighting on the topics of with the great sins that were involved in the process, that greenwashing to net zero, please don't do it. And last but not the least, Premji, who was talking about global effort to net zero, highlighting on the ISO parameters as well. And Dr. Jose Estes, who again highlighted on global net to net zero. Thank you so much. Thanks for all those brilliant speakers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Until we meet again the next week. Thank you. Thank you.